Chapter 472. As soon as the girl drew the Predictor of Fate card, the red-robed old man made a gesture. He took a step forward and placed his hand on a certain pattern on the ground. A streak of light scattered from the pattern and quickly spread across the floor. Almost immediately, all the patterns on the floor were lit up by the light. It was now that the girl saw her own corpse on the card. The entire hall began to shake. The boiling light flowed like a waterfall, sweeping across the entire hall. The light converged at the center of the hall, forming a faint figure. It was a figure of light with a pair of wings. Just by standing there, the figure of light gave off immense power, causing everyone here to feel a sense of fear. Ancestor, take their lives and activate the divine skill. Hurry, the red-robed old man hurriedly said. The silhouette of light nodded and lightly breathed out. Instantly, the entire hall was filled with intense wind. Heavenly God, what are you doing? You're trying to deal with us? Damn it, you've betrayed the covenant. Treacherous bastard. The leaders of the four-realm allied army roared in anger and shock. They didn't even have time to raise their hands before their flesh and blood began to dissipate. Very quickly, the leaders of the allied army turned into skeletons of various shapes and sizes, collapsing to the ground. The girl threw out two cards, which turned into two streaks of light, one red and one blue, that combined to form a large shield in front of her. The violent winds collided with the shield, producing a dense series of small impact sounds. It sounded like a violent collision between metals. The only people left alive in the hall were the red-robed old man and the girl. The girl appeared surprised and said, "So it's a real divinity, but it seems like it can only move within this hall as long as I leave this place." She quickly drew another card. At this point, the figure of light had absorbed enough power. It suddenly scattered into sprites of light. All the sprites of light froze in the air. The girl held a card in her hand, about to throw it out at the very next moment. The girl's eyes were wide open, seemingly in a state of panic and disbelief. She abruptly stopped. Her expression, her movements, her voice, everything had stopped. Everything in the hall came to a standstill. Only the red-robed old man could still move. The red-robed old man wiped the sweat off his forehead and sighed. He quickly walked in front of the girl and stared at the card in her hand. The card was so close to falling out of the girl's hand. That was really dangerous. Fortunately, we succeeded. A look of lingering fear appeared on the red-robed elder's face. He kicked the girl to the ground and took out a slender battle axe. Perfect. The troubles of the four worlds have all been resolved. I should be the ruler of these 6 worlds, not a spoiler like you. He raised his battle axe and chopped down on the girl's fair neck. Just as the girl's head was about to be separated from her body, a loud noise was heard. Clang! A sword appeared a finger's distance above the girl's neck. It was a long, narrow, and cold sword. The moment the sword appeared, it blocked the red-robed old man's battle axe. This is impossible. The red-robed old man cried out involuntarily. In the next moment, the red-robed old man waved his battle axe. However, a surging sword gleam suddenly erupted from the longsword. These sword rays were like torrents flowing across the heavenly realm, blasting all the buildings and everything in front of them into ashes. The vast sword radiance flew rapidly. The red-robed old man disappeared without a trace. The entire building was reduced to ashes in front of this sword. Secret art, torrent, it came from Guqing Shan. Shanna used it. After a while, everything returned to normal. The Devil King girl stood up, but didn't look at the 6 Paths great mountain sword. She looked at the Devil King Warden Rod with a strange expression on her face. It was as if she was looking at something she couldn't believe. After 10,000 years, there's finally a sliver of hope, the girl muttered and couldn't help but wipe her tears. A card flew out from the card book and landed in her hand. She put the card on the Devil King Warden Rod and muttered, "Release restraints." Immediately, the scenery, including the girl, disappeared without a trace. Guqing Shan finally regained her freedom of movement. The Devil King Warden Rod flew out from his body and silently floated in the air. Invisible ripples appeared in the air. These ripples surrounded the Devil King Warden rod and slowly manifested as the frame of a card. The card with the Devil King Warden rod on it was still floating in the air. The Six Paths Great Mountain Sword returned to Gu Qing Shan's side. Shanu appeared and cautiously looked around. What happened just now? That old man seemed to have used some sort of sacrificial secret technique to activate something extraordinary. I don't know what happened after that, Gu Qing Shan asked. The true god used a divine skill. Time stop, Shanu replied. Time stop. That's right. The true god extracted a split second of time from the flow of the river of time. Inside the hall, all living beings that were caught in that split second were unable to move forward or backward, only able to maintain their original state. And then, I thought about the reason we came here, so I couldn't help but save the Devil King. If it's time stop, why can you still move? Gongzi, you've forgotten. All laws can't affect me, Gu Qing Shan recalled, and remembered that Shanu really did have the thaumaturgy lawbreak. If that's the case, nothing would be able to restrain Shanu. So lawbreak is actually this powerful. It's a good thing you were here. Otherwise, I don't know who could have broken through that situation just now, Gu Qing Shan sighed. Time stop. A law-level divine skill like this, and it was performed so suddenly, there's basically no way to counter it. Shanu smiled. It's Gongzi's swordsmanship that's outstanding. Every strike is powerful. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to do this by myself. Gu Qing Shan was a bit interested and asked, Which swordsmanship do you like? Shanu hesitantly answered, I like 7 stars flowing dragon, but I'm afraid that I won't be able to use it well. What's there to be afraid of? You have all of my skills and experience. You can try it next time, Gu Qing Shan told him. He looked up at the Devil King Warden rod hovering in the sky. Let's not talk about that. I'll take it down first. He leapt up to grab the rod. Shanu stood on the ground without looking at him. She seemed to be thinking about something. The usual coldness on her face was nowhere to be seen, replaced by an expression of eagerness and eagerness. Shanu muttered in a low voice, 7 swords turning into a dragon, riding a dragon to fly. I really want to see what that feels like. In the air, Gu Qing Shan was holding the Devil King Warden rod card in his hand. As soon as the card was in his hand, the scenery around him slowly faded away. Gu Qing Shan's vision blurred. A few moments later, he found himself still sitting in the bar. The black-robed man was facing him, still holding the large-scale war card. Gu Qing Shan pulled his hand back from the war card. How long has it been? He asked. 3 seconds, the black-robed man answered. When did this war start? 10,000 years ago. Hearing that, Gu Qing Shan took a deep breath. I think I pass, he said. Indeed, you've obtained the right to use the Devil King Warden rod. She also allowed that she? The Devil King that you speak of, who exactly is she? The black-robed man thought for a bit, then spoke. Since you've passed the test, you're qualified to know our names. She's called Soft Note. I'm Hayes, the black-robed man called Hayes spoke. How do I say this? Soft Note likes to study the unknown. So she came to your samsara world. Originally, she and I would contact each other every once in a while, but one day, I received 3 SOS cards from her. SOS cards? The Great Ghost General, the Azura King, and the Devil King Warden Rod. Chapter 473. The black-robed man called Hayes sighed. Soft Note simply didn't think that the other party would have a true divinity shadow. That's why she ended up like this 10,000 years. You should have already saved her, Gu Qing Shan replied. I didn't succeed. Hayes' expression was sorrowful. Soft Note had set up the corresponding problems for these 3 SOS cards. Why did she do that? She believed that only by solving these problems would there be a chance of saving her. Gu Qing Shan thought for a bit, then said, It's been 10,000 years. You should have solved these 3 cards by now. Even if I did, it would be useless. Why not? Aren't you a card user? It's a long story. I'm all ears. Fine. Lon explained seriously, your world is a very rare world of the 6 paths of samsara. Among all the world structures, the samsara world is the most unique. It's in the midst of a chaotic tribulation, but it's also very stable. The 6 worlds form a complete closed-loop world chain, with the strongest natural world barrier and the protection of the divine mountain. How will this affect your ability to save her? As soon as an outsider like myself appears in the heaven realm, The demis will immediately sense my presence. They will use Soft Note's soul to threaten me to do things for them. While Soft Note won't be saved, you can't deal with them. I can't even be sure what the outcome would be in a direct battle against the demis. Not to mention they have Soft Note's soul. Her soul is still intact. That's right, they don't dare to do anything to her soul. Because if they do, Soft Note will definitely die together with them. What do you mean? A powerful card user might already be very powerful when they were alive. But what's even more powerful is that after they die, they can sacrifice their soul to create a unique order. The heavenly gods are afraid of that, so they can only seal her away. The stalemate has never been broken, the black-robed man sighed. I've already simulated every situation over 1,000,000 times, but I still can't think of a suitable way to solve this problem. Gu Qingshan smiled and said, I'm sorry, but there are a lot of things I don't understand. I don't even know what demis are. Demis are the descendants of divinities a long time ago. All the gods either died or disappeared. Only their descendants survived. These divine descendants are professionals from birth, and when they reach adulthood, they will automatically awaken a divine skill. In addition, the divine descendants also have a large number of divine artifacts and wealth left behind for them by the ancient gods. Sounds like it won't be easy to deal with. Yes, they are very strong. Even a card user like Soft Note was accidentally hit by the true god skill left behind by the ancient gods. Time stanch. Gu Qingshan asked, so for the past 10,000 years, the ones in control of Huang, Quan have always been demis. The one who controls the heavenly realm is also a descendant of gods? Yes. Gu Qingshan sighed. The demis are so powerful. Trying to rescue a soul from their hands is truly difficult. Yes. All I could do every day is wait for the prophecy card to leak some information to me. Hayes sighed bitterly. Let me guess. What do you want me to do? Gu Qingshan asked. The black-robed man smiled. He personally opened a bottle of liquor and poured Gu Qingshan a full glass. The demis are very wary of outsiders, but they treat the living beings of the samsara with extreme disdain. Soft Note's soul was sealed in the heaven realm by them. Only an insider like you can save her. According to your description of the demis, I'm not strong enough at all, Gu Qingshan replied. The black-robed man replied, you don't need to do anything specifically. I'm only informing you beforehand to let you know about this matter. What do you mean? I have a prophecy card that can solve the mystery. 9,500 years ago, it told me that it wasn't until today that Soft Note would have a chance to be saved. He took out all of his cards and placed them on the table. A total of 54 cards. The backs of these cards all had the same pattern and background. A holy light surrounded an angel. The angel was closing his eyes in a praying manner. A deck of cards is created according to the wishes of a card user. My own deck of cards is a bit unique, so I can't disassemble it and reassemble it. So I can only split my soul and use my second soul to reconstruct this new deck of cards. Sounds like a lot of hard work. I started doing this 9,000 years ago, slowly reconstructing the deck of cards over a long period of time. The black-robed man pointed at the cards and said, this deck of cards is called Soft Note Salvation. Looking at the 54 angel cards, Gu Qingshan couldn't help but ask, these cards, are they all used to save her? That's right. 36 salvation cards, 16 battle cards, 1 prophecy card, and 1 space-time positioning card splitting my soul. Gu Qingshan mused, the pain seems to be unbearable and will continue to affect my main soul. That's right, for the past 9,000 years, I've been enduring the pain of my soul being wounded every single day. Hayes's eyes appeared determined. But I have to save her no matter what. Gu Qingshan thought for a bit and raised her glass. Splitting your soul and waiting for 10,000 years. I'm quite impressed, he said. Seeing that, Hayes also raised his glass. The two of them clinked glasses. I'll tell you my request. I need to become the Devil King to save the human realm, Gu Qingshan said. I agree with that. Furthermore, after leaving this secret room, you can do whatever you want. Then what's your rescue plan? The Heaven Realm has many powerful laws of thaumaturgy, so I need to remain hidden for now until that small chance appears. In other words, I only need to do what I need to do, Gu Qingshan said. That's right. The prophecy has shown that you will bring me that small chance. I'll be waiting here for that moment to come. You can find me whenever you want. Hayes took out 3 cards from his chest and carefully placed them on the table. The Great Ghost General, the Azura King, and the Devil King Wardenrod. The Great Ghost General is willing to fight. The Azura King carries the oath of the allied army from before. As for the Devil King Wardenrod, its weapon spirit is already dead. Soft Note has turned its control imprint into a card. Take all 3 of these SOS cards. The first 2 cards will wait for their own opportunity. And the Devil King Wardenrod card is your reward. Hayes lightly tapped the Devil King Wardenrod card. The card turned into sprites of light and entered Gu Qingshan's body. I've already given you your reward in advance. From now on, the Devil King Wardenrod is yours. I'm very pleased with this reward. Gu Qingshan nodded. All right, I've already erased the memories of the other losers of this competition, so you'll need to fight against them to hide our meeting. Very well. That's it. Gu Qingshan tilted his head back and finished his drink. Thank you for the drink, he said. You're welcome. Good luck, Hayes replied. I'll give it a try. I hope both of us will be lucky. Chapter 474. Gu Qingshan left the bar. The bar's door closed behind him. The entire bar turned into a giant card and slowly faded away. Gu Qingshan found himself back on the deck of the ship and opened his eyes. At the same time, the 18 cards disappeared. The other 17 combatants of Hell opened their eyes at the same time. What the hell? Using such a strange method to explain a simple rule of the tournament. That's right, maybe it's because the Devil King Wardenrod made a mistake. They all complained loudly. However, everyone secretly tightened their grip on their weapons. The information on the cards explained the rules of the Devil King tournament. Falling off the ship means forfeiting, dying means being eliminated. The last person standing on the ship will be the winner. He will receive the Devil King Wardenrod. At this point, everyone only had 10 breaths worth of time to prepare. The 18 combatants casually glanced at each other. Giants, humans, fiend-kind, beast kings, Azuras, as well as strange-looking chaotic creatures. Their facial features and bodies were grotesquely shaped. In their era, there was no light from the sky. Darkness obscured everything. All chaotic creatures relied on their sense of touch to touch each other. No one could see each other. Because of that, they didn't really care about their appearances. Above the heads of the powerful dead, the Devil King Wardenrod floated in the air, waiting for its master. The 18 Devil Kings of Hell will be chosen from the 18 dead. The Devil King will wield the rod and command the entire hell. The divinities of Huang Quan are no longer here, so the Devil King will be the new ruler of Huang Quan. Everyone was ready for battle, and no one was in a relaxed state. The combatants all tacitly put some distance between each other. At some point, the 18 dead's expressions changed. The Devil King Wardenrod gave the order. The battle began. Seems like we can begin now, one of the combatants said. He looked at the 7 leaders with ill intentions and spoke. 10-7. Do you understand what this number means? Another combatant replied. Ahaha. This means that beating you up will be as easy as stepping on a bug. So why don't you jump off the ship yourselves? At least it'll be less painful. Don't let them escape. Kill them all. Then we'll slowly choose ourselves. The female fiend-kind shouted. The top 10 experts laughed heartily. The 7 commanders stood together, solemnly raising their weapons. Gu Qingshan retreated and joined them. Right now it's 8 to 10 inch. The female Azura puffed out her chest. The female devil cultivator stared at Gu Qingshan and gritted her teeth. Brat, I remember every single word you said to me before. You don't need to remember me like that, Gu Qingshan said. Why? You know fear now? The female devil cultivator said with interest. No, because you're going to die. Suddenly, the female devil cultivator disappeared from the top 10 rankers and appeared in the middle of the 7 commanders. Wah! Before he finished, the female devil cultivator was still confused, but the 7th commander had already moved. The 7 weapons unleashed their full power, slashing and piercing the female devil cultivator's body. The female devil cultivator died immediately. The female Azura swung her blade and cut off her head, proudly saying, I said I'll kill you however I want you to. The other side, Gu Qingshan appeared among the remaining 9 experts. Layers upon layers of black sword images bloomed, manifesting around his body. A second later, Gu Shan swung his sword. All the sword images disappeared without a trace. He canceled drawing. "What's the matter?" Shanu quickly asked. "HM, I suddenly feel like I'm overreacting a bit." Gu Shan held the Six Paths Great Mountain sword horizontally and tilted his head in thought. The Azura King's life's worth of battle experience had fused with his own fighting skills. Both his knowledge and skills were no longer the same as they were before. "Die, brat!" The remaining 9 experts finally reacted. Several attacks carried sharp gusts of wind as they flew towards him. The sword struck. 9 swords flashed and disappeared. Key. The sound of 9 weapons clashing resounded at almost the same time. Although the strength of each clash was different, the 9 experts all took a step back at the same time, their movements perfectly synchronized. Gu Shan slightly lowered his body, hiding his sword behind his back. His entire body was in a running stance. "The path of the sword is dash." After muttering half a sentence, he abruptly disappeared. An intense gust of wind blew on the ship. A chilly wind. A wind that no one could hide from. Gu Shan's figure appeared in the wind. He casually swung his sword. He seemed to have run into some sort of problem as his eyebrows were tightly knitted together. "After getting used to using 2 swords, I'm a bit unaccustomed to suddenly returning to using only 1 sword," he said. Shanna smiled. "I don't see why you're unaccustomed to it at all." There were no other movements around them. The 9 experts were completely silent, their bodies frozen in place. A few moments later, their heads all fell to the deck of the ship and rolled a few times. Thud! 9 heavy bodies collapsed on the ship. The entire deck of the ship was slowly dyed red. The 9 experts of hell were all killed by Gu Shan and sent back to their respective hells. In the past few eras, there had been 4 civilizations. But in the clash of civilizations, none of them could compare to the cultivation civilization. Gu Shan was an ascended realm late-stage cultivator. Even in the cultivation world, this level of cultivation would make him the strongest cultivator below the Saint realm. He was a sword cultivator who specialized in killing and risking his life. Not to mention, he had all of the Azura King's battle experience. He was the one and only sword saint. Fiend-kind, giants, human combatants, chaotic creatures. None of them could win against a single sword of his. Even the Azura and Beast Kings were nothing more than a single strike from him. Shanu was a bit doubtful and said, "There's nothing wrong with your sword techniques, but I feel like you're in a bit of a rush." Gu Shan sighed. "My body is still in the human realm. There will most likely be some enemies who will try to deal with my body. That's why I need to hurry up." As he spoke, his expression suddenly changed. The 7 leaders on the other side clapped their hands to greet him. "I didn't think there would be someone like you among the humans." The human old man smiled and said, "There's nothing to say. Let's get off the ship," the giant slowly said. One by one, they walked past Gu Shan and jumped off the ship. The female Azura stopped next to him. "What's the matter?" Gu Shan asked. "The water is too cold." The female Azura looked at him and muttered, "You're an Azura. Why would you be afraid of water?" Gu Shan smiled. The female Azura opened her mouth and licked her upper lip with her tongue. "I don't care. You'll have to make it up to me later," she said. "I'm sorry. I already have a girl I like," Gu Shan said. "Is that so? How regretful. Then can we have a spar later?" "That's fine." The female Azura nodded, satisfyingly walked to the front of the ship and jumped down. Only Gu Shan was left on the ship. The Devil King Warden Rod landed and silently floated in front of Gu Shan. Gu Shan hesitated and asked, "Why isn't it talking?" Shanu answered, "In the age of old, its weapon spirit was killed by divinity. So right now it's only following the laws that the Devil King set up for it, choosing a Devil King to rule the entire hell. That is its law." Gu Shan relaxed a bit. He took the Devil King Warden Rod. Lines of notification popped up on the War God UI. "You've obtained one of the 3 divine armaments of hell, the Devil King Warden Rod. You become the owner of the Devil King Warden Rod. You become the Devil King of Hell." Chapter 475. This divine armament spirit is dead, but you have the inheritance brand of the previous Devil King, so you can still activate the secret arts of this divine armament. Please do not let go. The inheritance brand is currently awakening the divine armament. Reading the description on the War God UI, Gu Qing-shan understood. The third of the 3 cards that Hayes gave her contained the Devil King Warden Rod's domination brand. Now is the time to use the domination brand to awaken the scepter. The point where Gu Qing-shan's hand and the Devil King Warden Rod came into contact began to feel an intense heat. The scepter became bright red, shaking nonstop. It seems Gu Qing-shan had infused some sort of power into it. After a while, the scepter returned to normal. The red hue that covered the entire scepter also slowly disappeared. The black scepter was now silently held in Gu Qing-shan's hand. Lines of glowing text quickly appeared on the War God UI. Devil King Warden Rod, this scepter spirit is dead. Its thaumaturgy has been lost. As you have gained full control over the scepter, you will now fully understand the power that the scepter itself contains. Scepter secret art. Samsara War. Description. You will learn how to use karma to separate hell from Huang Quan and travel to another world. Scepter secret art. Prison realm collapse. Description. The Devil King who holds the scepter will automatically learn this secret art, opening the 18 layers of hell at any time to release all the dead. Scepter secret art. Dead essence. Description. The Devil King can freely travel through any layer of hell, communicating with all dead beings, as well as instantly awakening any slumbering dead. Scepter secret art. Soul dispersion. Secret art description. The Devil King can use the scepter's power to permanently kill any disobedient dead. Their souls will disperse and turn into the scepter's power. The wielder of this scepter is the Devil King. All 18 layers of hell will bow before him. Your voice is the will of the entire hell. Gu Qing-shan quickly skimmed through the notifications, but couldn't say a single word after reading them. Even with the death of the weapon spirit, the Devil King Warden Rod still has so many secret techniques. This was an extremely powerful divine weapon. No wonder the Forgetting River Soul, Flaying Hook, said that it was the most powerful of the 3 divine weapons. The divine mountain hell sword lightly shook as Shanu appeared from it. She looked at Gu Qing-shan, then at the Devil King Warden Rod in his hand, speechless. What's wrong? Gu Qing-shan asked. Shanu sighed. How unbelievable. A living person becoming the Devil King of the 18 layers of hell. A living person, in the world of Huang Quan, used the 7-colored spear to kill countless demon lords and demons that occupied Huang Quan. Even now, not a single demon dared to enter Huang Quan. This living person even disguised himself as a dead person and became the owner of the Devil King Warden Rod. Since when did something like this happen in Huang Quan? Shanu even suspected that she was dreaming. If there was any other way, I wouldn't want to become a living dead, Gu Qing-shan sighed. Holding the Devil King Warden Rod in his hand, he focused his mind and sensed every single movement in the 18 layers of hell. The billions of living beings that were suffering in hell were all in his mind. At this time, all the dead could feel the Devil King's gaze. This was the power of the secret art, dead essence. Then, all the dead, listen up. I am the Devil King, Gu Qing-shan declared. The trillions of dead people in the 18 layers of hell silently listened. When I become the Devil King, my first order is for all the hells to retreat from the human realm and return to the Grand Tai Wei Mountain. You've already killed a lot of living people. Your sins are too heavy. Just come back, Gu Qing-shan declared. We object, a loud voice resounded. Gu Qing-shan's inner sight tried to sense it, only to find that it was the voice of the chewing hell. If you kill too many living beings in your life, you'll fall into the chewing hell after death. In the past few eras, the fiend kind had the most cruel and vicious nature. Even if it's for no reason, as long as there's a living being in front of them, these cruel and vicious fiend kind will kill it. That's why there are a lot of fiend kind in this hell. They've already established their own cities in many places in the Holy Empire. After the Pope's death, no one in the Holy Empire could stop the fiend kind's invasion. Right now, The fiend kind are treating every living being in the human realm as delicious food, constantly killing to satisfy their bloodlust. Whenever they feel the pain of hell, they can just eat someone to get rid of all the pain. That's a heavenly experience. However, the chewing hell hasn't completely separated itself from hell yet, so only a small portion of the fiend kind are able to appear in the human realm. The fiend kind are currently trying to separate hell so that all the fiend kind in the chewing hell can enter the human realm. That's an astronomical number. Once that happens, the human realm will become their paradise. That's why the fiend kind aren't willing to return to Huang Quan. Listen to me. I'm the Devil King. If you don't listen to me, you won't end up well. Gu Qingshan tried to persuade him. The fiend kind leader loudly declared, even if you're the Devil King, you can't stop us from taking over the human realm. This is our business. It has nothing to do with you. That's right. This is our fiend kind's business. The fiend kind all roared, expressing their unwillingness. Another fiend kind spoke. Although you're strong on your own, your blood river hell as a whole isn't as strong as our chewing hell. How about the two of us fight to the death? The winner will be the Devil King. That's right. That's how it should be, hell against hell. The fiend kind were all voicing their opinions. The Devil King Warden Rod's telepathic world allowed any living being to hear the voices of other living beings. Unless the Devil King made some sort of restriction, this kind of communication wouldn't be a problem. The fiend kind's intense protest attracted the attention of all the dead in the 18 layers of hell. All the dead were waiting to see how the Devil King would respond. Gongzi! Shanu was so nervous she wanted to say something. Gu Qingshan waved her hand, telling her not to worry. He shook his head, sighed, and said, "Don't worry. Do you really think I'm going to start a charity event after becoming the Devil King?" He sent his inner sight into the Devil King Warden Rod. The horn skull on top of the Devil King Warden Rod suddenly twitched. Two glowing red lights appeared in the eye sockets of the skull. The ultimate secret art on the rod. Soul dispersion was activated. Description: the Devil King can use the power of the rod to permanently eliminate any disobedient dead. The souls of those killed will disperse and turn into the rod's power. The Grand Tai Wei Mountain was shaken. Inside the chewing hell, the jaws full of sharp teeth closed tight. All the fiend kind scattered and ran. But under the Devil King's power of law, how could they escape? Right after that, billions of screams and screams of pain resounded from the chewing hell. The fiend kind's bodies collapsed, turned into sprites of light, and disappeared from the chewing hell. They were completely and utterly gone. From this moment onwards, not even their souls existed, nor could they recover through hibernation. Billions of sprites of light turned into a flowing river that passed through the barrier of hell and fell into the Devil King Warden Rod. This was the Devil King Warden Rod's reward, the source of its power. The Devil King Warden Rod let out a faint sucking sound. It hasn't had any power to replenish itself for 10,000 years. It was quickly absorbing the power of souls to replenish itself. Gu Qingshan stabbed the Devil King Warden Rod into the ground next to her and stroked the horn skull with her hand. The 18 layers of hell were dead silent. The Devil King of hell easily killed trillions of souls with a wave of his hand. Shanna wanted to say something, but held herself back. Inside the chewing hell, there were only a few dead who didn't voice out their opposition. Agreed. We agree with the Devil King's decision. The remaining giants and human dead were shouting like madmen. No matter how bitter hell is, there will always be an end, and they'll be able to reincarnate one day. But if they truly disappear, there would be nothing left. That would be complete disappearance. The other 17 dead of hell still didn't say anything. Even though they were being tortured, none of the dead dared to say anything. The Devil King cleared his throat and spoke. Everyone can see that. It was these fiend kind who wanted to oppose me. He raised his voice and shouted. Do you fucking bastards see that? Nod your head if you do. The trillions of dead in the 18 layers of hell seemed to have lost their minds as they all nodded. Gu Qingshan's voice slowed down and slowly spoke. Then, to prevent everyone from deepening their sins, I once again ask everyone to leave the human realm. He casually swung the Devil King Warden Rod and casually spoke. I'm done. Who agrees and who disagrees? A moment of silence. Frenzied voices rose and fell, one after another, ringing out continuously. I agree. Yes, I agree with the Devil King. I'll return immediately. We'll listen to the Devil King. We of the Frozen Hell will return immediately. We of the Frozen Hell will also return right now. The other three hells that invaded the human realm all expressed the same wish. Not a bad attitude. I'll give you 10 minutes. When the time is up, those who don't return will die. After saying so, Gu Qin Shan cut off the connection with the other hells. It was now that Shanu snuck a glance at him and muttered, "Trillions of souls were killed by you. Isn't that a bit too cruel?" No, the situation in the human realm is already very dire. So many innocent people are dying at their hands every minute. Gu Qin Shan weighed the Devil King Warden Rod in his hand and spoke. Truthfully, I wanted to kill all four of those scoundrels from hell, but since they were so tactful, I'm not a one-track-minded person. Consider a chance for them to turn over a new leaf. Chapter 476. Devil King? No, I'm a sword cultivator, Gu Qin Shan replied. At this point, he felt a ripple coming from below his feet. The entire ship was rejecting him. A few moments later, the ship turned into twisted ripples and slowly disappeared. Gu Qin Shan found himself standing on a high platform of the Blood River Hell. As the dead saw him, they all carefully stared at him, not even daring to breathe too loudly. Gu Qin Shan wielded the Devil King Warden Rod and left the Blood River Hell. He slowly walked out from the entrance to Hell. The dozens of weapons of Huang Quan were gathered outside. As soon as the weapons saw him, they all cheered. Success. Greetings, Devil King. Devil King. Well done. Gu Qin Shan smiled. These weapons were. The small white bird flew over and chirped. Who would have thought? You'd become the Devil King. Oh my God, I want to be the Devil King too. You're just a blade, the forgetting river's soul separating hook reminded it. No, I'm a bird, the small white bird glared. Fine, even if you're a bird, the Devil King is an existence that the entire hell fears. It's impossible for him to act like a bird, the shield spoke in a hoarse voice. The shield seemed to have remembered something and turned to Gu Qin Shan. Sorry, I wasn't talking about you. It's fine, Gu Qin Shan didn't mind. At this time, the Earth Sword and Chao Yin's sword appeared from the void of space, circling around him. To avoid being disqualified from the Devil King tournament, they didn't even enter hell. Did everything go smoothly? The Earth Sword's heavy voice came. With Shanu's help, I was lucky enough to succeed, Gu Qin Shan answered. The Chao Yin sword also let out a woo-woo sound. Yes, I'm fine. Gu Qin Shan smiled at the Chao Yin sword. As the four hells left the human realm, Gu Qin Shan's heart slowly calmed down. The human realm's crisis was finally resolved. The unsolvable frozen hell disaster of the past life was solved by him at its root. The demon lords and demons of Huang Quan were also killed. The only problem was that seven-colored spear of unknown origin. Thinking about the seven-colored spear, Gu Qin Shan couldn't help but frown. Using the spear to kill millions of demons is a necessary plan. But what should I do now? The suppressive talisman on the spear had already been removed. This terrifying spear would definitely not be willing to be restrained by any force. Why not just leave it on the Great Tai Wei Mountain? Gu Qin Shan then asked, Shanu, that seven-colored spear on the Grand Tai Wei Mountain can prevent demons from invading. How about we just ignore it? Shanu was clearly surprised. She hurriedly said, that won't do if we let it run wild. Huang Quan, the human realm, and even the other Samsara world will be destroyed sooner or later. Destroy. It can't be. Gu Qin Shan was shocked. Shanu replied, Huang Quan is the place to receive the dead of the six worlds. You don't doubt this, do you? No. Gu Qin Shan nodded. If the seven-colored spear is still here, when the living beings of the other five worlds die and reach Huang Quan, they won't be able to enter the Forgetting River, not to mention hell. You mean they'll all be killed by the seven-colored spear? Correct, that shouldn't be a problem. The dead can sleep in hell before waking up again. They still haven't entered hell, so they haven't been recognized by hell. So the laws of hell don't apply to them. Then they'll die irrevocably? That's right. If this goes on, Anyone who dies will be killed by the seven-colored spear. The cycle of life and death of the six worlds will be broken, and the six worlds will slowly collapse. Gu Qing Shan smiled bitterly. So it's going to be so troublesome. Why do I feel like I did something wrong? That's how it usually ends up, Earth Sword commented. Gu Qing Shan looked away, ignoring the Earth Sword's words. We have to think of a way to solve this problem. Otherwise, Huang Quan will be the first world to collapse, Shanu said very seriously. That's true. Let me think about it, Gu Qing Shan muses. His surroundings became silent. The weapons all remained silent, afraid that they would disturb his thoughts. A few moments later, Gu Qing Shan sighed. The seven-colored spear can kill divinities and demons. The most I can use it to deal with demons is that I don't have a way to take it away, he helplessly said. Shanna was panicking. Please think of a way. You definitely have a way, she gritted her teeth. In truth, the crux of everything is this seven-colored spear. Please help the world of Huang Quan. All right, I'll think about it and see if there's a way, Gu Qing Shan agreed. This was the most serious problem of the six worlds, so he couldn't afford to be careless. He sat down on the edge of the cave to hell and seriously thought about it. But the seven-colored spear was a weapon he had never seen before. Other than the Grand Tai Wei Mountain, no other entity could stop the spear. From a distance of several thousand meters, the spear could kill a divinity in one hit. Who could possibly think of a way to deal with such a weapon? After a while, Gu Qing Shan tried everything he could think of, but still couldn't think of a solution. Although the Devil King Warden Rod was powerful, its power was only focused on hell, so it couldn't affect the seven-colored spear at all. Putting the seven-colored spear on the Grand Tai Wei Mountain. The Grand Tai Wei Mountain. Gu Qing Shan suddenly recalled the Six Paths Great Mountain Sword's description. The Six Paths Great Mountain Sword has 4 thaumaturgies: invincible, lawbreaker, living's wisdom, and divine mountain protection. Invincible, lawbreaker, and living's wisdom are all clear. Divine mountain protection. The divine mountain here must be the Grand Tai Wei Mountain. What does this thaumaturgy mean? Gu Qing Shan couldn't help but ask. Shanu, can you control the Grand Tai Wei Mountain? Impossible. The Grand Tai Wei Mountain won't be easily controlled by any power. It has to resist the winds of chaotic tribulation from outside. Hearing that, Gu Qing Shan was very doubtful. If that's the case, what's the use of this divine mountain protection? He and Shanu aren't sword master and weapon. They're still in the process of getting to know each other better. If I rashly ask her about her abilities, it's very easy to break their newfound rapport. Casually asking about a weapon spirit's thaumaturgy is a very offensive thing to do. While he was at a loss for what to do, Shanu took the initiative to speak. Since you've asked, I'll explain a bit. I was born from the laws of the Grand Tai Wei Mountain, so I can only control the Grand Tai Wei Mountain at certain specific times. What specific times? The destruction of the entire world of Huang Quan, or the birth of Huang Quan. When the laws of Huang Quan undergo a great change, the birth of Huang Quan has already passed, so I can no longer use that period of time. To make things clear, Shanu was very patient this time. If Huang Quan is destroyed, this mountain will rise from the ground and head toward the other 5 worlds of the Samsara, protecting them from the winds of chaotic tribulation. Gu Qing Shan asked further, then what do you mean when the laws of Huang Quan undergo a great change? Only when the entire world of Huang Quan has undergone a great change will you have the chance to use me to change the Grand Tai Wei Mountain. The entire world of Huang Quan will undergo a great change. That's right, the world isn't born, nor is it destroyed, so I don't know what it would be like. Following Shanu's explanation, a few lines of glowing text appeared in front of Gu Qing Shan. You've learned the Six Paths Great Mountain Sword's 4th thaumaturgy, Divine Mountain Barrier. The Six Paths Great Mountain Sword's properties have been completed. The Six Paths Great Mountain Sword, the world's worshipped sword, divine armament of Huang Quan. This sword is the manifestation of the Grand Tai Wei Mountain's laws of Huang Quan. The Six Paths Great Mountain Sword's 4 thaumaturgies, Invincible, Lawbreaker, Living's Wisdom, and Divine Mountain Barrier, appeared in Gu Qing Shan's vision at the same time. Invincible. None of the laws of the 10 worlds will be able to damage this sword. lawbreaker. None of the laws of the infinite worlds will be able to affect this sword. Living's wisdom. With your permission, Shanu will learn all of your skills and experience. Wield the Six Paths Great Mountain Sword to fight for you, or fight alongside you, Divine Mountain Barrier, during the three crucial moments of the world's birth, transformation and destruction. The Six Paths Great Mountain Sword will be able to control the Grand Tai Wei Mountain. Gu Qing Shan silently read through the last item. Divine Mountain Barrier. He seemed a bit hesitant. Seeing that he didn't say anything for a while, Shanu couldn't help but ask, "Have you thought of anything yet?" "I want to ask, if the seven-colored spear stays on the Grand Tai Wei Mountain, will the six worlds really be slowly destroyed?" "Yes, soul-separating hook, what do you think?" Shanu asked. The forgetting river soul-separating hook answered, "The seven-colored spear is too powerful. It will stop all life from reincarnating, and reincarnation is the core law of the samsara," it added. "Once the law of reincarnation slowly collapses, the samsara worlds will also collapse." "I understand," Gu Qing Shan nodded. He lowered his head and fell into thought again. The weapon spirits all looked back, only to see Gu Qing Shan's eyes were lowered, completely immersed in thought. A while later, Gu Qing Shan muttered, "There's no longer any divinities in Huang Quan. If we don't do anything about it, it'll be broken through by the demons sooner or later. If Huang Quan is broken through again, it'll be even more troublesome," Shanu added. "Not only that, if the demons can take the seven-colored spear away, after a while, they might have a special way to take it back again." "That's right. The demons might have a way to take back that terrifying weapon. If the seven-colored spear is thrown into the human realm by them." Thinking that, Gu Qing Shan couldn't sit still. He tried his best to think for a long time. Then a bold idea appeared in his mind. "If that's the case, how about—" He suddenly sighed and covered his forehead with his hand. "What's wrong? Are you all right?" Shanu hurriedly asked. Gu Qing Shan answered, "I have an idea. It might be a bit crazy, no, it's very crazy." "What idea?" "As long as we can deal with the seven-colored spear, I'll definitely help you." Shanu was determined. Chapter 477. The 5-elemental fire essence and the 5-elemental essence are in the 18 hells. The wood source of the 5 elements is on the mountainside of the Tai Wei Mountain. The 5-elemental water source is in the depths of the river of forgetfulness. The earth source of the 5 elements is in the temple of reincarnation. That's the place where the Yellow Springs deities arrange for all living beings in hell to reincarnate. It's at the foot of the Tai Wei Mountain. It's shrouded by the 7-colored spear shadows. The weapons were all talking at once. After Gu Qing Shan used the 7-colored spear to kill billions of demons, the weapons have already recognized his ability. Now, he had become the Ghost King, solving the problem of hell in one fell swoop. The weapons were already convinced by him. Is the reincarnation temple far from the river of forgetfulness? Not far, it's by the forgetfulness river. Hearing that, Gu Qing Shan was a bit worried. The earth source and the wood source were located at the foot of the Grand Tai Wei Mountain and halfway up the mountain respectively, which were shrouded by the 7-colored spear. This matter was a little difficult to handle. "What is it? Do you need these things?" Shanu asked. "Yes, let's collect the 5 elemental origins first. The 5 elemental origin can deal with the rainbow spear. My method should work." Shanu didn't ask anything else. As long as he said he had a way, it was as if he had never failed before. "The fire and metal elemental essences are in hell. You can use the Devil King Warden Rod to find them," she told him. "Also, I know where the 5-elemental water source is located in the river of forgetfulness. Previously, I used the 5-elemental water source to heal myself. I'll go get it now." Gu Qing Shan said, "Then we'll meet at the Blood River Hell later." "All right." Shanu wielded the 6 Paths Great Mountain Sword and flew away. Using the divine ability, Living's Wisdom, she mastered Gu Qing Shan's flying technique. Gu Qing Shan held the Devil King Warden Rod tightly, closed her eyes, and carefully sensed it. Almost immediately, he discovered the 5-elemental earth source and the 5-elemental fire source in the skinning hell and the frying hell. Gu Shan waved the Devil King Warden Rod and disappeared. He appeared somewhere in the flaying hell. When a man-eating mouse on the ground saw him coming, they immediately shut up. Gu Shan squatted down and looked at the flickering yellow light in front of her. This was the source of metal of the 5 elements. In fact, this was also a very rare treasure. However, in the infernal realm, there are no techniques to refine equipment, nor were there any tools to refine energy. In the Yellow Springs, there were many naturally formed treasures or divine weapons condensed from laws. Therefore, the 5 elemental origins were not favored by the dead. Gu Shan put away the metal source of 5 elements. Next, he went to frying hell. The 5 elemental fire source was in the depths of the frying hell. It was a pot of boiling, high-temperature oil that was hundreds of meters deep, specially used to fry the dead. Gu Shan directly summoned tens of thousands of powerful dead and had them dive down to the place he pointed out. Soon, the dead found the 5 elemental fire source and brought it to him. "Thank you. Sorry to trouble you." Gu Shan accepted the 5 elemental fire source and thanked him sincerely. "We wouldn't dare. It is our honor to work for the Ghost King." "Not all. We will obey the Ghost King's orders, as the Ghost King commands." The dead answered carefully. Gu Shan nodded and left. Seeing the Grim Reaper leave in satisfaction, the dead of the frying hell heaved a sigh of relief. When Gu Shan returned to the Blood River Hell, Shanu was already waiting for him. "Here." Shanu threw a cluster of light that gave off a cold and moist air to Gu Shan. Just like that, 3 of the 5 elemental origins had been collected. Only the earth and wood elemental origins were left. "All right, now it's time to get to the tough part," Gu Shan said. "You mean the Shrine of Reincarnation?" Shanu asked. "That's right. That place is at the foot of the Grand Tai Wei Mountain. The 7-colored spear can attack whenever it wants," Gu Shan answered. "I've already taken a look," the Forgetting River Soul Separating Hook answered. "The entire Grand Tai Wei Mountain only sees a single 7-colored spear shadow occasionally. If that's the case, then the 7-colored spear isn't attacking everywhere anymore." The small white bird exclaimed. "That's not the case. I think it's because there's nothing left to kill on the surface of Huang Quan that it quieted down," Gu Shan replied. The weapons went silent. "That's right. No one can guarantee what the 7-colored spear will do when someone tries to enter the Shrine of Reincarnation. The 7-colored spear only needs to let out a single shadow." Gu Shan went silent for a bit, then suddenly called out, "Merit Accountant Machine, are you there?" A circle of light appeared above his head, forming the number 0000. "Would you like to ask a question about merit?" the Merit Accountant Machine asked. "I want to know how much merit I get from saving the entire world of Huang Quan." The Merit Accountant Machine's voice became serious. "Saving the world of Huang Quan is the same as saving the entire samsara, which is equivalent to saving 6 worlds and all living beings in them at once. The merit you get is like the amount of sand in the Forgetting River. All of that sand will turn into the Forgetting River, as well as the total amount of sand in the Forgetting River. The merit you get is so complicated, so vast, so immeasurable." Gu Shan asked again, "If living beings from hell participate in this, will they also get this merit?" "Depending on how much they contribute, you can also get merit." "All right, I understand. Thank you. Goodbye." The Merit Accountant Machine's voice disappeared. What also disappeared was the glowing 0000 on top of Gu Shan's head. Gu Shan thought for a bit more. He raised the Devil King Warden Rod and connected it to all the dead in the 18 layers of hell. Immediately, the dead sensed the Devil King's attention. They stopped what they were doing and stood still. Gu Shan cleared his throat and loudly spoke. "Villains, listen carefully. The countless dead in the 18 layers of hell all listened attentively." Gu Shan began to speak to all of hell. "Now, there's something I need you to do. This will help you get rid of all your suffering. Immediately accumulate enough merit to reincarnate into another world. Are you willing?" The dead hesitated a bit, then slowly replied, "We are willing. We will listen to the Devil King, Sir Devil King. Whatever you say." The replies were few and far between, but the dead all expressed their attitude. At the very least, they can't afford to piss off this vicious person in front of them. That was what everyone was thinking. Guqin Shan waved the Devil King Warden Rod, causing the countless dead to feel nervous. Very well, he said. I know you might be a bit doubtful about this, but as you all know, the merit counting machine, let's ask it to explain. Guqin Shan then called out the merit counting machine. I have a question. How much merit do the dead need to earn in order to escape from the sea of suffering and reincarnate into another world? Guqin Shan asked. The merit accounting machine answered, the dead that enter hell will always have negative merit, because they committed too much evil while they were alive. The more evil they commit, the more negative the number becomes while suffering in hell. This negative number will slowly decrease until the negative number disappears and their merit becomes 0 or positive. Only then can the dead in hell reincarnate. The merit accounting machine very seriously explained. This was common knowledge in hell, something that almost every dead knows. In fact, they would often look up at their merit to see how much longer they need to escape from the torment of hell. Guqin Shan then asked, Then, I have something for everyone to do. He then asked about how he saved the world of Huang Quan from before. Sure enough, the merit accounting machine gave the same answer as before. As the dead listened, their eyes lit up one by one. The merit accounting machine has never lied before. This is the truth. If there was such a good thing, even without the Devil King's urging, the dead would be more than willing to do it. The dead are always thinking about escaping hell, hoping that they won't have to endure the pain and torment of hell anymore. Very well, I've asked my questions. You can go into hiding now, Guqin Shan said. The merit accounting machine's voice disappeared. Guqin Shan once again faced the entire hell and asked, saving the world of Huang Quan. I'm pretty sure I can accomplish this. If you're willing to participate, I guarantee that your merit will be enough for you to escape hell. At least you can check your merit accounting machine to see if I'm telling the truth. Then, are you willing to listen to my orders and do this? This time, the billions of dead all shouted in frenzy. We are. Of course we are. Listen to the Devil King. Listen to the Devil King. Who wouldn't want to escape the sea of suffering? Of course we are. Please give your orders. Devil King, sir. Guqin Shan waved the Devil King Warden Rod and signaled everyone to quiet down. I'll say this first. Although you're all immortal, you'll die countless times for doing this. You'll be killed many times by a particularly powerful divine armament. He then told them about the 7-colored spear. Immediately, one of the dead hurriedly shouted, It's just being killed on the spot. A one-time pain is the most satisfying. It's so much better than the endless torture in hell. Your Majesty, what should we do? Please tell us quickly. That's right, we've already died once. We've been tortured to death. What's a second time if I can accumulate enough merit to reincarnate? I'm not afraid of dying a few hundred times. Please give us your orders. We'll listen to you. Devil King, sir, more and more agreed. In the end, all the dead within the 18 layers of hell were shouting at the same time. Give us your orders. Give us your orders. Give us your orders. Guqin Shan sensed this through the Devil King Warden Rod and nodded. That's enough. We can proceed to the next step. He temporarily cut off contact with the dead. Shanna watched the entire process and asked in confusion. Gongzi, I don't understand. What don't you understand? Guqin Shan was in a good mood and smiled as she asked. The fiend-kind didn't listen to you before, so you killed billions of fiend-kind souls with a wave of your hand and wiped out the entire chewing helm. This time, if you used their lives as a threat, the dead of the 18 layers of hell would definitely listen to you, wouldn't you? That's right. Then why did you go through so much trouble to explain this to them and even give them merit? Guqin Shan replied, The dead of the 18 layers of hell have the characteristic of immortality, so I'm responsible for giving ideas, while they're responsible for doing the work. Once they've accomplished my plan, they'll be able to reincarnate, and I'll have achieved my goal. It's only fair Shanu understood what he meant and asked, So you're making an equal trade with them? That's right. You hold their life and death in your hands. You can order them. That's not an order. It's a threat. But you killed all the fiend kind in the chewing hell before because they don't repent. They're still killing for fun, continuing to commit evil. I've always wanted to kill them all, Guqin Shan continued. After the other 3 hells stopped, I gave them a chance to repent, but just now you could have dash. Those are 2 different things. Gu Qing Shan cut her off and patiently explained, eliminating evil is a principle, and so is making a fair trade. Both of these principles are recognized by sword cultivators. He stroked the Devil King Warden rod and muttered, using their lives to threaten a group of weaklings. This might be seen as a matter of course by many, but a sword cultivator would never accept such a principle. It goes against my own conscience. Hearing that, Shanu's gaze slowly moved towards Gu Qing Shan. So that's it. She suddenly curtsied. Chapter 478. Gu Qing Shan stood in hell. He held the Devil King Warden rod in his hand and muttered, Barrier collapse, scepter's secret art. Barrier collapse. The Devil King who holds the scepter can automatically use this secret art to open the 18 layers of hell and release all the dead. The ground began to tremble. Without a sound, the barrier that sealed the 18 layers of hell disappeared. Time slowly passed. At a certain point, at the foot of the Grand Tai Wei Mountain, on the shore of the Forgetting River, a giant appeared. Without a hellspawn to berate him, without a divinity to watch over him, he simply walked from the Forgetting River to the Grand Tai Wei Mountain. He came from a skinning hell. The Forgetting River warmly embraced him. That's right. He was a dead man, a dead man. The Forgetting River wouldn't kill him, nor could it kill him. A second giant appeared. A third giant. A human appeared. The Azura swung his weapon. The Beast Kings roared. The fiend kind flew to the sky, followed by strange, chaotic creatures. Dozens of dead stood in the river. Behind the dozens of dead, the dead that filled the entire river of forgetfulness walked out from the river. 18 layers of hell. Billions of dead came out from the water. In the Blood River Hell, Gu Qing Shan muttered a single word. Go. The dead moved. They rushed towards the shrine of reincarnation. As soon as they took a few steps, a rainbow-colored shadow descended from above and cut the dead that had just reached the shore into dust. The seven-colored spear. It had attacked, but for both sides, this was only the beginning. An endless sea of dead people rushed towards the shrine of reincarnation. Shah! Another seven-colored spear shadow flashed. Several tens of thousands of dead were killed in one hit. But that's fine. As soon as they disappeared, more dead appeared where they originally were. All the dead ran towards the shrine of reincarnation in a frenzy. They were fearless. The pain of having their bodies sliced apart was nothing but a common punishment in hell. As for death, it was nothing more than a deep slumber for them. The dead weren't afraid of death. No matter how powerful the seven-colored spear shadow was, it couldn't shake their determination. A giant charged forward with large strides. The seven-colored shadow flew straight through his body, killing him and the countless giants behind him. But before that, the giant had already grabbed a handful of the dead and threw them in the direction of the Temple of Reincarnation. He roared with laughter. Trash, so what if you kill me? As if it could understand those words, the seven-colored spear abruptly burst forth. Countless rainbow-colored sharp lines filled the entire world of Huang Quan. Around the entire Divine Mountain, tens of millions, even hundreds of millions of dead people died in large numbers. Gu Qing Shan put her hand on the Devil King Warden Rod's skull and whispered. Again, he activated the scepter's secret technique, Dead Essence. All the slumbering dead immediately woke up. In the entire 18 layers of hell, every dead person who was killed immediately climbed up from hell and rushed towards the river of forgetfulness. Surrounding the Grand Tai Wei Mountain, the entire Forgetting River became a sea of dead people. The seven-colored spear looked down and sped up its attacks. Spear shadows appeared one after another. The dead fell one by one, and new dead stepped over them, moving forward. From above, they looked like a swarm of unyielding ants, slowly approaching their target. Seeing this, Shanu sighed. I didn't think these villains of hell would put so much effort, Gu Qing Shan replied. In any war, whether a soldier is willing to fight or forced to fight, the difference in strength between them is like the difference between the clouds and the mud. So this is also the reason why you made a fair deal with them? Gu Qing Shan smiled and muttered. You make people work for you. but you don't give them any benefits, who would be willing to do their best? Not to mention, this is hell. Villains don't have the noble spirit of sacrifice, Shanu agreed. If there really is such an unrealistic situation, only the main characters of fantasy novels would be able to order others around for no reason at all, at the foot of the Grand Highway Mountain. The dead were still running like madmen. Slowly, they began to think of new ways to get closer to the Temple of Reincarnation. They no longer charged forward, but instead changed directions to move towards the Temple of Reincarnation. They were running, jumping, rolling on the ground, crawling forward in a zigzag pattern. They spread out, flew to the sky, and tried to approach the Temple of Reincarnation from every angle. At this point, the seven-colored spear couldn't keep up with the frequency of its attacks. No matter how powerful it was, it couldn't keep up with the seven-colored spear's attacks forever. And it couldn't keep the spear's attacks in every corner of the void of space forever. Indeed, it was powerful enough to slay gods and demons. However, using this unparalleled power to kill the dead who would never die was a waste and a thankless task. It was like using a giant interstellar cannon to kill a mosquito, completely unprofitable. Time slowly passed. The dead were risking their lives to attack the Temple of Reincarnation. The seven-colored spear's attacks didn't stop. In hell, I've always been curious. Isn't the seven-colored spear tired after using so much power to kill the dead? Gu Qing-shan asked. The forgetting river soul separating hook answered. The divine armament's origin power is soul points. No matter how powerful it is, using the spear's attacks will still consume soul points, the Earth Sword also said. Even if this consumption is pitifully small for it, it's still consumption. Gu Qing-shan held the Devil King Warden Rod tightly and closed her eyes to sense the hell. After a few hours, less than 1/1,000 of the dead had fallen asleep in the 18 layers of hell. Apparently, they didn't even need to use dead essence again. I'm relieved to hear that, Gu Qing-shan said. A few more hours later, the dead were still charging towards the Temple of Reincarnation tirelessly. They cheered, jumped, and rushed to meet their deaths. The dead were even competing to see who could go the furthest. The various hells had opened their bets and payout rates. These scoundrels used their own deaths as a wager to compete with each other for some benefits. They were enjoying it. Sometimes, they would also look at their merit. The merit of each dead person was slowly increasing. The dead who put in the most effort also gained the fastest. After all, this was to save the samsara, so as long as they tried their best, they would gain merit. The personal merit calculator told them that if they succeeded, they would receive an astronomical amount of merit. The more merit they had, the more benefits they would receive after reincarnation. One's appearance, fortune, status, wealth, and everything else at birth were all based on merit. The trillions of dead were cheering, passionately rushing to their deaths. The seven-colored spear had been killing for a few more hours, but the number of dead didn't decrease at all. Instead, it was increasing. Looking down from above, the dead around the Grand Highway Mountain were getting closer and closer to the foot of the mountain. At a certain point, Gu Qing-shan stood up and lightly spoke to the scepter. Charge! The trillions of dead all roared in anger. They began to charge towards the Temple of Reincarnation with all their might. It turns out that the dead had been silently accumulating their numbers. The constant harassment from before was only to toy with the seven-colored spear. The encirclement began to shrink. The dead ran like wild horses, disregarding their own lives, regardless of whether it was the spear or other people in front of them. The seven-colored spear let out an angry woo-woo sound. It stopped its attack. It wasn't because it was being merciful, but because the dead's attacks were becoming faster and more ferocious, finally breaking through its encirclement and entering the Temple of Reincarnation. The seven-colored figure in the sky had completely disappeared. The spear gave up on its futile efforts. Chapter 479. The Shrine of Reincarnation was the place where the divinities of Huang Quan arranged for the suffering beings of hell to reincarnate. Apart from that, many important matters regarding Huang Quan were also handled here. This could be said to be the highest authority of Huang Quan. The earth elemental root was placed here. The dead charged into the shrine of reincarnation. Stop, the female Azura ordered. Don't damage anything. We still don't know the exact location of the thing the Devil King wants. If anyone damages it, their soul will be destroyed. She shouted. The dead stopped in their tracks and cautiously stood still in their original spots. The female Azura was the leader of this charge. The first wave was led by Wolf King to defeat the 7-colored spear's attack. But Wolf King was also killed by the spear. The female Azura took that chance to charge into the shrine again. The 7-colored spear stopped its attack. Very quickly, the 6 leaders gathered at the shrine of reincarnation. They began to search for the earth elemental root. These elemental roots were actually quite easy to find because they contained powerful powers that could be sensed. For example, the elemental root itself contained cold air as well as the power of water, which could slowly heal the wounds of all living beings. Because of that, the first time Gu Qingshan saw Shanu, she was inside the Forgetting River, using the elemental root to nourish her spirit body, hoping to quickly recover. The 7 leaders closed their eyes and carefully sensed. They opened their eyes one after another with surprise written all over their faces. Isn't that thing supposed to be easy to find? Why can't I sense any power fluctuations? The human old man asked. It's best to ask Wolf King about this. He'll definitely understand, the fiend-kind leader said. Look, he's here, the male Azura said. Wolf King had revived again and entered the shrine. He seriously thought for a bit and said, Everyone, look around and see if there's anything unusual in this shrine. Be careful not to damage any of these facilities. The 7 commanders spread out and began to investigate the divine temple. Even after searching, they still couldn't find anything. Wolf King had no choice but to use telepathy to report the problem to Gu Qingshan. That shouldn't be the case, Gu Qingshan scowled. We've searched, but we didn't find the earth elemental root, nor did we find anything strange, Wolf King said. It suddenly glanced at the crowd. Wait, I don't see the female Azura. Maybe she found something. At the same time, the female Azura was standing in a secluded corner of the temple. There was a metal machine here. It had almost completely fallen apart, but it was still being held together by some sort of power, so it hadn't been completely destroyed. An eye-catching 33 was painted on the surface of the machine. Faint black smoke rose from the machine. Obviously, even with the support of some kind of power, the machine was still severely damaged. It seemed to be working. The female Azura reached out her hand and pressed on the cold metal machine. The machine let out a rumbling sound, startling her. God! The machine hurriedly spat out the word. Just saying this word caused the machine to shake violently. Some parts clanked off the machine. The machine seemed to have reached its limit and even stopped operating. Suddenly, a flame emerged from the machine. The machine trembled unsteadily, but it still tried its best to say the rest of the words. Back, boom! The machine exploded. Countless machine parts scattered and fell to the ground. The female Azura was stunned. What's going on? From the looks of it, the machine really wanted to say something, but it couldn't do so anymore. What exactly did it want to say? This thought appeared in the female Azura's mind and couldn't be erased. Where the machine exploded, a faint yellow light appeared. The earth elemental root. So it was here. With its support, no wonder the machine that was on the verge of falling apart was able to hold on until someone arrived. Whether it was because the machine noticed that it was about to die and came to find the earth elemental root, or because it originally had the earth elemental root, this has become an eternal mystery. What happened? Wolf King's voice came. The 6 leaders appeared behind the female Azura. So it was here. The male Azura excitedly said, Great, let's bring it to the Devil King now. The fiend kind floated over, took the earth elemental root, and tossed it to the dead behind him. The dead cheered in excitement. Even a divinity died under the 7-colored spear. But they managed to break through the spear's defense and retrieve the earth elemental root. This was the dead's victory. They brought the earth elemental root back to the Blood River Hell. The shore of the Blood River Hell. Gu Qingshan was weighing the earth elemental root in her hand. The 4 elemental root was in her hand. Only the wood elemental root halfway up the mountain was left. The female Azura suddenly appeared next to him. "What's the matter?" Gu Shan asked. "There's something I want to ask Shanu, or the forgetting river soul separating hook." The female Azura appeared to be troubled. "Go ahead," the forgetting river soul separating hook said. "Can the machines in Huang Quan be repaired?" "The divinities can repair them. Other than that, the laws of Huang Quan will also slowly repair them, but that will take a very long time." The female Azura nodded, thinking about that. "All right, that's the last origin. Everyone go," Gu Shan said. "Roar!" The dead roared and charged once again. The seven-colored spear remained silent. At the Grand Tai Wei Mountain's waist, it used the seven-colored spear to draw a faint line. This seemed to be its declaration. Once someone crosses this line, it will go all out. The dead carefully probed around and quickly found the wood elemental root at the waist of the mountain. Very quickly, the wood elemental root was also in Gu Shan's hand. Gu Shan took out all 5 clumps of origin and began to recall them. Back in Shunwu world, the giant corpse told him how to fuse 2 worlds together. Now, it's time to refine them. Saying so, Gu Shan released his spirit energy and combined it with his inner sight to refine the elemental origins. These elemental origins are all ownerless, so they're naturally compatible with spirit energy, making them excellent smithing materials. It's only because this samsara world doesn't have the concept of smithing that they're still around. Very quickly, these elemental origins were marked by Gu Shan's inner sight. Using spirit energy to control the smithing technique, he easily stretched the glowing elemental origins into a string and connected them together. Immediately, a long line of 5-colored light was produced. Lines of glowing text suddenly appeared on the War God UI. "You've obtained a string of law. This is the string of law of the Huang Quan world of the Samsara. If you bring it to another world, the Huang Quan world will be pulled there by the string of law, slowly merging with another world to form a new world." Gu Shan held the Devil King Warden rod tightly and closed his eyes to think. "Shino, Gongzi, I'm here. I'll have to trouble you to manage this place. I need to return to the human realm for a bit. What does Gongzi want to do? You'll know soon enough." Gu Shan stabbed the Devil King Warden rod into the ground. He held the 5-colored string of law in one hand and formed a hand seal with the other. Infusing it with spirit energy, the hand seal was completed. "Soul, return, go. Soul comes, soul goes. Allow your soul to enter the yellow springs and return." An invisible force seemed to have appeared in the void of space, allowing Gu Shan to sense the direction of his body. He followed the pull and disappeared into the void. In an instant, he flew out of the blood river hell and into the void. A few moments later, he appeared at the entrance of the dark tunnel. He went through the dark tunnel, entered the space vortex, and followed the direction of the force. After a while, Gu Shan stopped. He could sense that his physical body was just outside the space turbulence. Activating the hand seal, a transparent barrier appeared in the void of space. He could faintly see the living room of the mountaintop mansion on the other side. Gu Shan broke through the transparent barrier and appeared in the human realm. He hovered in the air, silently observing the room. Zhang Yongho and Yi Fei Li stood on his left and right, carefully protecting him. "Ah, Anna is here as well." A beautiful red-haired girl was leaning on the sofa, looking very tired. Next to the girl, there was a black hound. Black Dog was originally holding a bottle of liquor in his hand, gulping it down. As soon as Gu Shan appeared, Black Dog suddenly sat up straight, looking up at Gu Shan's soul. Black Dog seriously looked at Gu Shan's appearance, then at Gu Shan's body, then quickly relaxed. Black Dog lay back down. "What's going on? This dog can see me?" While Gu Shan was confused, Black Dog suddenly jumped up, opened his eyes wide, and stared at the 5-colored string of law in Gu Shan's hand. Chapter 480. Black Dog's series of reactions made Gu Shan silently wonder. What a strange dog. Gu Shan didn't wait any longer and returned to his body. He opened his eyes, only to see the 5-colored string of law in his hand. The others quickly reacted. How is it? Jang Young-ho asked in a low voice. From afar, the president and monarch Verona also stood up. Everything is going smoothly, Gu Qing-shan said. Gu Qing-shan! Anna screamed as she jumped up from the sofa and ran towards her. She hugged Gu Qing-shan tightly. What's going on? Aren't I fine now? Gu Qing-shan smiled. Oomph. Sushare hugged me before, why can't I? Anna opened her eyes wide and said. Her face slowly blushed. Even her ears were a bit red. Sushare definitely didn't know that her actions would bring about such a vengeance. If she knew about what happened today, who knows what kind of methods she would use to strike Anna again. The president smiled and turned around to look at the scenery outside the window. Monarch Verona face-palmed and shook her head. All right, let's get down to business first. Gu Qing-shan patted Anna's shoulder and said, Anna, then let him go. Gu Qing-shan stood up and left the room with the 5-colored string of law. He stood on the open platform in the middle of the mountain and threw the string of law out. The string of law melted into the void of space. Slowly but surely, like melting snow, it completely disappeared. Is that all? Gu Qing-shan was also a bit unsure. He directly asked, Impartial goddess, is there any change in the world? The hollow brain in his chest pocket lit up. Impartial goddess reported, Sir, the planet is changing. What kind of change? Gu Qing-shan asked. The planet's diameter is increasing. The planet is becoming bigger. In other words, the world is becoming bigger? Is there any change in the climate? Did any disasters happen? Gu Qing-shan hurriedly asked. So far, everything is normal. This is unbelievable, completely out of my comprehension, Impartial goddess commented. Suddenly, Gu Qing-shan sensed something. He closed his eyes and carefully experienced it. He clearly hadn't cultivated much. However, the spiritual power surrounding his body was growing rapidly. Originally, after advancing to the late soul formation stage, the spiritual energy in his body was still in the process of surging. At this moment, he felt that the spiritual power in his body was stable and abundant. Could he try to break through to the sainted realm? Gu Qing-shan suddenly remembered the words of the 100,000-year-old giant corpse. When a world fuses with another world, the living beings of the other world will become stronger. Gu Qing-shan nodded silently. Has the planet stopped changing? He asked. No, the planet is still slowly growing larger. The original terrain and structure are miraculously stabilized, but a lot of new uninhabited places have appeared, Impartial goddess replied. Gu Qing-shan heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that the fusion of the two worlds was still ongoing. However, the process was rather smooth. He suddenly realized something. I need to solve the problem of the 7-colored spear right now. Otherwise, once the fusion of the two worlds is complete, the 7-colored spear will kill every living being in the human realm. Wait a bit, the matter of Huang Quan isn't finished yet. It's urgent. Saying so, he quickly returned to his room, sat down cross-legged, and began to form hand seals again. Secret art, seal body, een shift, secret art. Soul comes, soul goes, everyone entered the room. Yi Fei couldn't help but ask, what exactly happened just now? After forming the 2 hand seals, Gu Qing-shan answered, perhaps after you die, you won't need to go to another world. Saying so, he once again entered the state of death. Going through the space vortex and the dark tunnel without stopping, he arrived at the world of Huang Quan. In the Blood River Hell, Shanu was anxiously waiting for him. The world of Huang Quan is undergoing an unprecedented change, but I don't know what it is, Shanu said. It's okay, this is our chance? That's right, I want to ask you to confirm. Can you use that thaumaturgy right now? Gu Qing-shan asked. Thaumaturgy? What thaumaturgy? Shanu had no idea what Gu Qing-shan was talking about. Divine Mountain Protection. Shanu closed her eyes for a bit, then exclaimed in surprise. I can indeed change the Grand Tai Wei Mountain right now. That's great, Gu Qing-shan said. This is the true light of hope. Shanu muttered. That's right. I can indeed change the Grand Tai Wei Mountain right now. But the time is very short. Only 10 breaths worth of time. so urgent. Hurry, let me. Gu Shan said. Shanu glanced at him, gritted her teeth, and turned into a sword. The Grand Tai Wei Mountain protected the six worlds, so if Gu Shan made any mistakes right now, the winds of chaotic tribulation would immediately be let in. If that happened, the six worlds would be destroyed along with it. But at the very last moment, she decided to believe in Gu Shan. Gu Shan held the Six Paths Great Mountain sword in his hand and froze. He suddenly had an illusion. I'm a mountain. The Grand Tai Wei Mountain. The entire world of Huang Quan is right in front of me. The Samsara worlds are all under my protection. Gu Shan suddenly understood. I can change the shape of the Grand Tai Wei Mountain with my thoughts alone. Shanu's voice came. Gongzi, there's only 7 breaths worth of time left. Please do whatever you want to do to the Divine Mountain as soon as possible. All right. Gu Shan tried releasing his inner sight to carefully scan through every inch of the mountain. There were no obstructions along the way. Gu Shan then controlled his inner sight to look deeper into the Grand Tai Wei Mountain. The entire mountain began to move according to his will, changing the direction of the mountain range. Valleys quickly formed, dangerous peaks turned flat, mountain slopes turned into peaks, everything went smoothly. So that's how I control it, Gu Shan silently thought. 5 breaths left. I can't drag it out any longer. Gu Shan gathered his inner sight at the top of the Grand Tai Wei Mountain. Very quickly, he found where the 7-colored spear was. The spear was stabbed into a large piece of rock. 4 breaths left. Gu Shan began to act. Not enough. I need to accumulate more, he muttered in a low voice. The 7-colored spear was stabbed into the large piece of rock, not moving a single bit. Right now, Gu Shan was still preparing. Right now, the 7-colored spear was silently sensing the changes in the world, completely oblivious to what Gu Shan was doing. 3 breaths. A mountain giant over a dozen feet tall appeared at the top of the mountain. 2 breaths. The mountain giant crouched down and grabbed the 7-colored spear with a giant hand made of rock. The 7-colored spear immediately reacted. It unleashed countless 7-colored spear phantoms to attack the mountain giant. But it was useless. No entity could destroy the Grand Tai Wei Mountain. This divine mountain formed the entire world of Huang Quan. Even the winds of chaotic tribulation that could destroy all worlds and all existences was stopped by the Grand Tai Wei Mountain, let alone the power of a single spear. 1 last breath. Go! Gu Shan shouted. As he spoke, the mountain giant hurled the 7-colored spear out. The sound of air friction became so loud that it resounded across the entire sky. The 7-colored spear turned into a blurred image and flew out of the Grand Tai Wei Mountain. It flew out of the world of Huang Quan, heading towards the back of the Grand Tai Wei Mountain. The back of the mountain was a bottomless cliff, the area outside of the Samsara. Time was up. The Divine Mountain's protection ended. The mountain giant slowly sank back into the mountain, returning to the silent Divine Mountain. Shanu appeared from the sword and muttered in a daze. That's right, outside the Grand Tai Wei Mountain, there are endless winds of chaotic tribulation. Even an entire world wouldn't be able to escape from the chaotic tribulation, let alone a weapon. Gu Shan wiped the sweat off his forehead and sighed in relief. If it's so strong and it doesn't differentiate between friend and foe, we can just throw it outside of the world and let it fight against the winds of chaotic tribulation. Even if it can survive the winds of chaotic tribulation, it won't be able to return to Huang Quan, Gu Shan said. All the danger was resolved. A portion of the dead who wanted to destroy hell and take over the human realm disappeared, while the rest were absorbed. The demons and demon lords that filled the world of Huang Quan were all killed. The 7-colored spear was thrown out of the Samsara world. The entire world of Huang Quan fell into an unprecedented silence. DDD. The voice of the merit accountant machine resounded in the ears of every dead person from hell. Begin calculating merit, the mechanical voice said. On the other side, the 7-colored spear flew out of the Samsara world. It was flying towards a mass of chaos. A gray gust of wind silently appeared. The wind struck the spear. Bam! An earth-shattering sound rang out. The demon-slaying spear was knocked away by the wind. The gust of wind carried immense power. The seven-colored spear flew through the void of space at a speed that humans couldn't comprehend. Indeed, this was the winds of chaotic tribulation. The winds of chaotic tribulation that could eliminate an entire world. Another gust of wind appeared. The wind slowly appeared, and it was getting stronger and stronger. The howling wind struck the body of the spear, sending it tumbling in the air. The seven-colored spear was enveloped by the wind, continuously taking hits. Enraged, the spear unleashed the seven-colored spear's phantom to clash against the wind. Clang, 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 clang. It continued to clash. The seven-colored phantom on the spear didn't fade at all. Both it and the winds of chaotic tribulation were ferocious existences that were close to invincible. The spear and the wind continued to clash against each other, flying toward the place that no living being could ever reach. Under this state of near destruction, time and space could no longer measure anything. It felt like it had been over 10,000 years, but it also felt like it had only been a split second. No one knew where they were. The spear and the wind were still clashing. All of a sudden, a voice called out, there's a spear here." Chapter 481. The Samsara World. Huang Quan. As the dead looked up, the numbers above their heads were quickly increasing. Very quickly, the minus signs in front of the numbers disappeared. Their merit became 0. Very quickly, it became positive. The numbers kept on increasing. Saving 6 worlds? What kind of grand feat is this? What kind of merit is this? Even if the number of dead has reached 1 trillion, the amount of merit each person can get is still astronomical. The number on top of each dead's head was increasing at a crazy rate. When a number above the dead's head turned positive, something miraculous happened. Within the 18 layers of hell, all the cruel punishment stopped. Within the blood river hell, the viscous blood turned into deep blue seawater. The monsters that devoured the dead all turned into gentle fishes. In the frost hell, houses rose from the ground one after another. Inside were warm charcoal fires, and long dining tables were filled with steaming hot food. Within the various hells, the flames were extinguished, the ice melted, the chains broke, the mountains of blades collapsed. All the sufferings and sufferings of the dead dissipated. The commanders looked at their own merit points, then at the merit points above each other's heads, and all of them revealed looks of wild joy. "Aha! I don't have to suffer anymore. I don't have to suffer anymore." The human old man shouted like a madman. "Awoo!" The wolf king howled to the sky. The male Azura started to sing. The giant waved his hands. Seeing this, Gu Qing Shan also smiled. Of the 7 leaders of hell, only the female Azura isn't here. But that's fine. No matter where she is, her merit will still increase. All the dead will be reborn in the heaven, Azura, or human realms according to their merit. When can they reincarnate? Gu Qing Shan asked. The forgetting river soul, separating hook, smiled. After going through all the suffering of hell, the dead will have half a day's time to rest, bathe, and repent, then officially reincarnate into another world. A leader of the dead spoke with a bitter expression. "This place has become so comfortable. I don't even want to reincarnate anymore." The dead burst out laughing. But quite a few of them were tempted. After reincarnation, they'll naturally forget their memories of this life. In the new life, it was very difficult to remember the things of the previous life, unless there was a great opportunity. Many dead people were reluctant to part with the memories of their lives. At this moment, the torture in hell had completely disappeared. If he could settle down and live here, it would be a wonderful thing. The voice of the personal merit calculating machine suddenly sounded. "No, if you stay in hell when it's time to reincarnate, your merit will be continuously deducted. Once your merit is negative, you will once again enter hell to be tortured." Its voice was cold and resolute. The forgetting river soul, separating hook, also spoke. "The world of Huang Quan isn't worth staying in. You should start a new life. The dead had no choice but to give up on the idea when the divine artifact said so. Gu Shan recalled something and suddenly asked, will the fusion of the two worlds affect the world of Huang Quan? Wait a bit, the forgetting river's soul separating hook said. It gave off a blinding light that swept across the entire Huang Quan world. After a while, the hook continued. Although most of the benefits went to the human realm, the world of Huang Quan was also strengthened by the origin laws. This strengthening will belong to the fused world in the future. What are the specific effects? Borrowing the power of the two worlds fusion law, the machines of Huang Quan are quickly recovering. The 88 machines will also recover? Gu Shan asked with interest. That's right, that's fortunate. The world of Huang Quan no longer has a manager. It's fortunate that we still have them. The forgetting river soul separating hook spoke in relief. Shanu agreed. That is indeed fortunate. With these machines, after the fusion of the two worlds, the area around Huang Quan will be much more orderly. That's good to hear, Gu Shan said. He sighed emotionally. Hell is now empty. The matter of Huang Quan has been resolved. The human realm will also regain its peace. What a long war, recalling everything that happened during this period of time. Gu Shan was deeply moved. If I didn't take 100 Flowers Fairy as my master, I wouldn't have been able to learn the two secret arts, Sealed Corpse in Shift, and Soul Comes Soul Goes. Without these two secret arts, I wouldn't have been able to come to Huang Quan and search for the true origin of the calamity. If that happened, everything would have slowly gone to ruin. That was truly fortunate. Thinking about Shifu, Gu Shan was a bit confused. Shifu was only limited by the cultivation world, but now that she has Shenwu world, her strength will definitely increase by leaps and bounds. Perhaps Shifu and the others have already fused Shenwu world and the cultivation world. If that's the case, the limit of a cultivator's strength will increase again. But on the other side, I'm currently in the space vortex, about to enter a world that's about to end. When will I be able to return to the cultivation world? Fine, the next time I go there, the first thing I'll have to think about is how to survive. While he was thinking silently, he saw a few undead commanders coming up. What's the matter? Gu Shan asked. Everyone wants to hear what you have to say, the human old man said. Everyone? No, everyone, Gu Shan happily agreed. Very well, since we're about to part ways, I'll say goodbye to everyone. Saying so, he raised the Devil King Warden Rod. All the dead in the 18 layers of hell felt it. Congratulations, everyone. Today you've escaped from the sea of suffering and will soon be reincarnated. Gu Shan smiled and said, Roar! The dead all cheered. Devil King, thank you so much. One of the dead shouted. Cheers and applause resounded. Stop! 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 Gu Shan said. All the dead slowly calmed down. The last thing I want to say is, be a good person in your next life. Don't come back to hell. I don't want to see you again, Gu Shan said. He put down the Devil King's scepter. Without any warning. Good job, Devil King. Hail the Devil King. Long live the Devil King. In the end, the dead all felt that their chants were different, so they all changed to a unified chant. Long live the Devil King. Long live the Devil King. Long live the Devil King. They chanted in a rhythmic manner. The thunderous cheers shook the entire 18 layers of hell. Gu Shan covered her ears and scowled. Strange, I clearly cut off my connection with the scepter. Why can I still hear? Shanu couldn't help but laugh. The usually cold and indifferent Shanu was laughing so happily and freely this time, a very rare sight. Noticing that her laughter was a bit disrespectful, Shanu lightly covered her mouth. What are you laughing at? Gu Shan asked. Gongzi, all 18 layers of hell, are cheering. The entire Grand Tai Wei Mountain can hear it. Even if you cut off your connection with the scepter, you can still hear it with your ears, so that's why Gu Shan let go of her ears. Everything that happened these past 2 days is so strange that I couldn't even imagine it. Shanu sighed emotionally. She sneaked a peek at Gu Shan, only to see that Gu Shan was already thinking about what to do next. I'll leave this place to the forgetting river soul separating hook and the weapons here. Contact me if there's anything, Gu Shan said. Very well. After the worlds fuse, We'll meet again, the forgetting river soul separating hook replied. Gu Qing Shan smiled. This scepter shall remain here to guard hell. Very well. I'll keep an eye on the Devil King Warden Rod for you, the forgetting river soul separating hook said. Gu Qing Shan then stabbed the Devil King Warden Rod where it was. Since hell is about to become empty, this scepter is temporarily useless, so it's better to leave it here. It's not a sword, it belongs to hell, so it'll continue to observe the situation in hell. So I'll leave it here for now. After all, the scepter has my brand on it, so no one else can use it. Maybe after a very long time, I'll return to hell and pick up this scepter. That'll be a new journey. Let's go, Shanna Gu Qing Shan said. Yes, Gongzi Shanna replied. They leaped into the air and flew in the direction of the dark den, looking at their backs. The small white bird was sobbing. What's wrong with you? The forgetting river soul separating hook asked in surprise. How regretful that he doesn't use a blade, the small white bird replied. Don't worry, after the worlds fuse, you can go to the human realm and choose a companion to support you. The forgetting river soul separating hook looked at the weapons and spoke seriously. Although the demons were all killed, their appearance means that the demons have their eyes on our samsara world. After the worlds fuse, all you don't need to sleep anymore come out, but there are no longer any divinities in Huang Quan. What are we going to do? A spear asked. Go to the human realm and find a wielder you like. Help them grow and become stronger. Perhaps in the near future, the world will be under your protection. The forgetting river soul separating hook answered. Chapter 482. Why can't I contact the Devil King? The Shrine of Reincarnation. The female Azura's voice came. She ran out from the Shrine of Reincarnation, heading straight towards hell. She seemed to have been frightened by something, as her expression was full of fear. Hurry, hurry, we have to tell the Devil King about this. Because of how scared she was soaked in cold sweat. She was running as fast as she could. After a while, she fell and rolled a few meters away. But the female Azura didn't care at all and continued to run forward. Hurry, just a bit faster. I have to get to the Devil King. When she reached the Blood River Hell, Gu Qing Shan was already nowhere to be seen. Only the 6 leaders of hell were still celebrating. As they saw her, they all greeted her. Where did you go? There's still half a day before we can reincarnate, right? Which world do you want to go to? The female Azura took a deep breath and shouted, Shut up. The other 6 were surprised. It was now that they noticed that the female Azura was trembling, her expression extremely pale. What happened? The giant asked. Where's the Devil King? The female Azura asked. Everything's over. So he just left, the human old man answered. Where did he go? The female Azura hurriedly asked. The human realm, it's over. The female Azura's body softened and fell to the ground. What happened? Tell us. We can help you with anything, the Wolf King spoke in a low voice. It's useless. The female Azura sighed in despair. Then she remembered something and muttered. There's no way. Who knows? Divine armament, forgetting river soul, separating hook. I can tell it. I'm here. The forgetting river soul, separating hook appeared. The Shrine of Reincarnation. Inside the Shrine of Reincarnation. Hurry and take a look. The female Azura shouted in a frenzy. The hook smiled and spoke. All right, let me see what it is. His voice stopped. After a while, he spoke again. It's over. It's over. The hook's voice was extremely sad, but also carried an inexplicable sense of anger. The female Azura hurriedly said, Quickly go to the human realm and tell the truth to the Ghost King. The forgetting river soul, separating hook answered. There's no point in telling him. He's only one person after all. He can't go against the heavenly God scheme. Not to mention, the entire scheme has already been in motion for a long time. It's already irreversible. The Wolf King walked out and asked seriously, What exactly is going on? Tell us, so that we can all discuss it in detail. The other commanders nodded in unison. They put away the joy on their faces. Looking at the female Azura's expression, it was clear that something unknown had happened. The forgetting river soul, separating hook spoke. Put your hands on me. I'll show you the conversation. Just now, the commanders placed their hands on the wound, and an image appeared in front of them, in a shrine of reincarnation. Machine 33 emitted sparks, and a thick plume of smoke escaped from its body. It was once again assembled and barely recovered some of its functions. From the looks of it, it wouldn't be a problem for it to speak for a short period of time. Not only it, but with the fusion of the two worlds, the machines were also gradually recovering. "It's Hook. You come at the right time," said the machine. "Emergency recorder, you seem to have something to tell me." The forgetting river's soul separating Hook spoke. "Quickly, look, I have to tell you the truth," the recorder said. A scene appeared from the recorder, almost like a hologram in the void of space. On the screen, 8 divinities with different faces stood deep inside the shrine of reincarnation. The 8 Yama of Huang Quan, the supreme divinities of Huang Quan. They were discussing in a low voice. "Is it time yet?" "It's time. Let's go. The gate to the heaven realm is already open, waiting for us. How regretful. We have no choice but to give up on Huang Quan." The 8 Yama deities went silent. One of them spoke. "This is what we agreed upon. The world of Huang Quan will be responsible for drawing the demons' attention. After they've dealt with everything else, they'll bring us with them when they leave another Yama's side. Let's go. Even the heaven realm can't stop that kind of power. There's nothing we can do." "That's right, that 7-colored spear is too terrifying. No one can stop it. It's not that we're running away. There's nothing we can do." As the 8 Yama deities spoke, they all nodded in agreement. They believed their own words. One of the Yama deities sighed. "How pitiful. After Huang Quan, it's the human realm's turn." Another Yama deity spoke. "There's nothing we can do about it. To ensure that we won't be attacked by the demons during our retreat, the heaven realm can only think of a way to eliminate the human realm's protective barrier. That's right. Only by using both Huang Quan and the human realm to draw the demons' attention can the divinities safely retreat. Let's go. Wait a minute. Let's destroy the recorder as well. The 6 Paths Great Mountain Sword will also have to be destroyed. It's too powerful, and it's closely related to the Grand Tai Wei Mountain. It'll create unfavorable variables for us. That divine armament is a manifestation of the Grand Tai Wei Mountain's law. It can't be destroyed. There's no need to destroy it. As long as we damage the sword spirit and make it unusable for a while, it'll be fine." "Damage the sword spirit? I can do that." The images disappeared. The 7 dead leaders fell silent. The fiendkind's light became unstable. It angrily spoke. "So the divinities of Huang Quan betrayed 2 worlds in order to escape." Wolf King muses. "The divinities of Huang Quan all came from the heaven realm, which means it was the heaven realm that betrayed 2 of the samsara worlds. Following this, the human realm will soon be attacked by a large number of demons." Wolf King turned to the human old man and asked, "In your world, are there a lot of combatants like the Devil King?" The human old man smiled bitterly. "It would be great if there were, but unfortunately, I've never seen his level of power before." Wolf King muses. "We dead can continuously revive, and there are trillions of us. That's why the demons feel helpless against us," the human old man commented. "In comparison, the human realm has very few soldiers, and they're also very weak. They'll probably die if they're touched by the demons. Seems like the human realm is done for." While they were talking, the ground began to tremble. The merit account machine appeared and hovered above each dead person's head. "Dead, please take a bath. Wash away your past, then repent of your sins. After that, your reincarnation will begin." A refreshing dew descended from above, washing away the blood and filth on the dead people's bodies. This was a very comfortable feeling, as if the deepest part of their soul was being cleansed. The dead happily stood in the rain. This was the wondrous use of merit. Now was the time for them to enjoy the fruits of their labor. The 7 leaders were enjoying this kind of good karma, waiting for their reincarnation. The forgetting river soul, separating Hook, shook a bit and sighed. "I'll still need to go to the human realm, at least to let him know what happened." Chapter 483. The Human Realm, the Federation, the Mountaintop Mansion. The void of space suddenly broke open. A delicate and pretty lady in a green dress appeared in front of everyone. She curiously looked around and asked, Gongzi, is this the human realm? She appeared out of nowhere, exuding a frigid air, almost as if she was sharp and unstoppable. Yifei Li and Zhang Yongho both stood up as if they were facing a great enemy. Anna stood in front of Gu Qingshan. "Who are you?" Anna shouted. Shanu turned around to see Gu Qingshan behind Anna. She curtsied. "You must be Gongzi's friends. I'm Gongzi's personal sword." "Gongzi? Sword?" Everyone couldn't react in time. Gu Qingshan opened his eyes. He stretched lazily and said, "What a long battle." Anna hurriedly asked. "She said she's your sword? What's going on? What's the situation in hell?" The president asked. "What are the divinities of Huang Quan like? Are they strong?" Yi Fei Li asked. "We found that hell has already disappeared. Will they still appear?" Zhang Yongho asked. Monarch Verona shrugged, crossed her arms, and didn't ask any questions. "All in all, everything has been dealt with. There won't be any problems in the human realm." Gu Qingshan smiled and said. Everyone sighed in relief. "Tell Yao Xing to come back. There's no need to prepare a spaceship," Gu Qingshan said. "Understood," Sir Impartial Goddess replied. Anna pointed at Shanu and insisted. "Who is she?" "Let me introduce. This is a sword spirit, the sentience of a sword. She's called Shanu," Gu Qingshan explained. Shanu once again curtsied to everyone. "This little girl greets everyone." "Ah. Hello, hello, hello," everyone replied. "Sword spirit? Looking like this," Anna muttered in a low voice. It was now dark outside. It was noon, but the entire sky was covered in darkness. "I'm sensing an unprecedented amount of death aura. It's pouring into the world in large amounts. What's going on?" Monarch Verona frowned. She was a wood elemental professional, so she was most sensitive to the aura of death. "It's probably because Huang Quan wants to fuse with our world," Gu Qingshan said, but was suddenly cut off. The hollow brain in his pocket lit up. Impartial Goddess replied, "Sir, the entire world has fallen into darkness. A terrifying monster has appeared in the sky. Please investigate immediately." A screen of light appeared. All over the world, the sky was enveloped in darkness. Countless strange monsters appeared in the sky. They looked down at the human city and roared excitedly. The monsters were restless, but they seemed to be isolated by something, temporarily unable to rush into the human world. Gu Qingshan was stunned. These were all demons. It is clearly the yellow springs that are going to merge, and the world will become more powerful. What is going on? He muttered. In the world displayed on the screen, he even saw a demon god wandering in the sky. Suddenly, several lines of blood-red words appeared in his retina. "Warning! The world barrier of the human world is gradually weakening. It is estimated that the barrier will disappear in an hour. 1 hour later, the demons will descend upon the human world. The human world is about to be destroyed." Gu Qingshan was shocked. "No, that shouldn't be the case," he said. Suddenly, a dim yellow light flashed in the air. The forgetting river soul separating hook appeared. "Why are you here?" Shanna was surprised. "I'm here to report something," the forgetting river soul separating hook sighed. It quickly explained the old god scheme, which means the heavenly gods have abandoned the world. The human world will be destroyed by the demons, the president spoke in a hoarse voice. "These heavenly gods are all trash," Yi Fei Li angrily shouted. "What about Huang Quan? Is it still fusing with the human world?" Gu Qingshan asked. "It is, but there's not much meaning to it. Why? After countless eras, it took all the powerful dead from the samsara worlds to stop the demons. After that, even if all the humans in the human world become dead, there are too few of them, and they're not strong enough to fight against the demons. The entire world of Huang Quan is about to become empty, and we don't have the manpower to fight against the demons. Can the human world's protective barrier be reactivated?" Gu Qingshan hurriedly asked. "Because the heavenly gods managed to remove the human world's protective barrier. The world barrier is about to completely disappear. Because you fuse the two worlds together, the new world will form a new protective barrier. Normally, this process would take 7 days, but because Huang Quan doesn't have any power to resist it, the entire process will only take 7 hours. 7 hours. This is a hopelessly long time. As soon as the world barrier disappears, the demon army will be able to descend upon the human world. After 7 hours, when a new world barrier forms again, the world will already be destroyed. Is there no other way? Gu Qingshan looked at the screen and clenched her fist. More and more demons were appearing in the sky. Their voices were getting louder and louder as they passed through the world barrier. Until the very end, the demons' voices shook the entire world. Humanity blankly stared at this, falling into unprecedented despair. Chaos and slaughter slowly spread. In another hour, the world barrier will disappear. There's no time for anything else. Who would have thought that after so much effort and going through so many twists and turns, this would be the result? The president walked up and patted Gu Qingshan's shoulder. You've done your best. Let humanity do the rest, sir. What do you plan to do? Everyone should fight for their own right to live. I'm going to make a national speech to encourage everyone to fight until the very last moment. Then I'll also need to prepare and mobilize the entire population. Monarch Verona combed her hair. Gu Qingshan fell silent. Humanity is still too weak. They're no match for the demons. Once the war breaks out, it'll be a one-sided slaughter. Is there any other way? Gu Qingshan quickly thought of a plan. Useless. Nothing worked. The demon lord's figure had already appeared in the sky. Don't be fooled by the fact that the demon lord died as soon as he fell into the Forgetting River and was easily killed by the seven-colored spear. But in reality, the demon lord is invincible in a normal war. Even the demon lord is about to descend. Who in this world can fight against the demon lord? Gu Qingshan sighed. At this time, lines of glowing text appeared on the War God UI again. Attention user, in 5 minutes, the world of Huang Quan will fuse with the human realm. Attention user, reinforcements from Huang Quan are about to arrive. Due to your achievements in both the human and Huang Quan realms, reinforcements will come to see you first, Gu Qingshan muttered. Reinforcements from Huang Quan. Seeing the words reinforcement from Huang Quan again, Gu Qingshan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Thinking for a bit, he still held onto a sliver of hope and asked the Forgetting River soul, separating hook. Will reinforcements from Huang Quan come to the human realm? The Forgetting River soul, separating hook replied. The weapons feel that they should do their part. They will arrive when the worlds fuse, it added. Right? Some of the Huang Quan machines that have recovered will also arrive. Gu Qingshan's eyes lit up and asked, are there any special machines that can fight against the demon lords? There aren't. The demon lords are too powerful. Normal powers can't do anything against them. His fantasy shattered. Gu Qingshan fell into thought again. Even if he had lived 2 lives, even if he was the commander of humanity in his past life, even if he understood the secret between worlds, he still wouldn't be able to deal with such a situation. There was nothing he could do. This was true despair. Suddenly, dong, a sound came from the void of space. Gu Qingshan looked around, but there was nothing. Strange, there was clearly a sound. Dong, dong, dong. It sounded like someone was knocking on the door. No, the knocking sound came from the air inside the house. Gu Qingshan suddenly looked up. At some unknown point, the world had become silent. Gu Qingshan's eyes quickly scanned the room. The president scowled, rubbing his chin as if considering his words. Verona had taken out a mirror and was adjusting the dial. Yi Feili appeared to be angry, but more than that, he was confused. Zhang Young-ho was still calm, holding his hollow brain and typing something. Anna stared at Shanu with a cautious expression. Everyone was in a state of stillness. The expressions on their faces froze, and their bodies remained in their original positions, motionless. But the black dog could still move. It silently walked in front of Anna and crouched down. The black dog appeared to be very nervous, but from the looks of it, it seemed to have made up its mind to protect Anna. Gongzi, time has been stopped. Shanu walked up to Gu Qingshan and whispered. Time stopped. Gu Qingshan suddenly remembered something and asked. That's right, time stopped. Why can I still move? The other party is doing this on purpose. They probably came prepared at the same time. 2 cards began to vibrate in Gu Qingshan's thought sea. Vengeance deck, Great Ghost General. Chapter 484. Divine Skill, Time Stop. Gu Qingshan suddenly recalled the battle she saw in her dream. Two figures appeared in Gu Qingshan's mind. The card user called Soft Note, the red-robed demi. In the bar dream, the third dream, the Devil King Warden Rod showed the scene of the demi killing the girl. At the time, the demi sacrificed the leaders of the Four Realms Alliance to summon an ancient divinity and use this divine skill. Where's Hayes? At this moment, did he see this scene? Gu Qingshan noticed something. He released his inner sight to check his thoughts. See. A card appeared. Vengeance Deck Spell Card. Azura King. Azura King. Vengeance Deck Spell Card. When this card is activated, the Four Realm Pledge from 10,000 years ago will once again exert its binding power. Four Realm Pledge. Demi, Wraiths, Azura, and Beast Kings must mutually support one another and never betray one another. Every leader of the Four Realms has made such a pledge. Those who violate the pledge will receive the full punishment of the leaders of the Four Realms. The Azura King looked at Gu Qingshan from the card with a serious expression. Do you still remember what you and Hayes agreed on? The Azura King asked. Of course, I've already received my payment. What do you need me to do now? Gu Qingshan asked. The red-robed demi is here. Please do your best to stall him. I need some time to activate the Four Realm Pledge, the Azura King said. How long do you need? The longer the better. At this moment, the other card also revealed itself. The Great Ghost General. Great Ghost General. Vengeance Deck Summoning Card. The strongest fighting strength. The Azura King looked at the Great Ghost General. Are you ready for battle? The Great Ghost General laughed in a frenzy, but it sounded like he was crying. I've been waiting for this battle for 10,000 years. The Azura King then looked at Gu Qingshan and said, This is our only chance. Please do your best to stall him for a bit longer. Saying so, he clasped his hands together and began to chant the old Four Realm Pledge. All right, I'll try my best to stall him, Gu Qingshan said. Holding the Six Paths Great Mountain Sword in hand, he felt a sense of relief. This sword was not affected by any laws. It was the key to breaking the opponent's divine technique. Shanu, if I'm hit, just follow up. You can use all of my skills and experience to face the enemy. Yes, Gongzi. Shanu was a bit nervous. Dong, dong, dong. There was another knock on the door. This time, someone spoke in the void with a very polite attitude. May I ask if His Excellency Ghost King is here? I'm here, Gu Qingshan said. Please forgive my abrupt visit. If you have some spare time, I would like to meet with you to discuss in detail. Would you agree? Please. My pleasure. A black dot of light suddenly appeared in the void of space. The black dot quickly expanded and turned into a translucent human silhouette. It looked like a benevolent old man. An old man with silver hair and a luxurious red robe descended from the sky with a scepter in his hand. Gu Qingshan stared at this with a calm expression. In his thoughts, a bloody skeleton suddenly appeared next to the Azura King. Noticing Gu Qingshan's inner sight, the Azura King took some time to tell him, This is far from enough. To summon the old true god, the red-robed demi didn't hesitate to betray the oath of the Four Worlds and sacrifice 13 generals of the allied army. I need to activate the oath of the 13 generals and awaken their soul contracts that have been dormant for over 10,000 years. The success or failure of this depends on whether or not you can stall him. Saying so, he continued to chant the incantation. Gu Qingshan retracted her inner sight and looked at the red-robed demi. Indeed, this is the demi who killed Soft Note. I need to think of a way to stall him. Gu Qingshan smiled. I didn't think there would be a guest at a time like this, and one who has the power to control time. Hearing that, the red-robed demi smiled warmly. I came in a bit of a hurry. Please don't mind me. I came this time. Dash as the red-robed demi was about to continue. Gu Qingshan waved her hand, gesturing for him to sit down. Please sit down and talk. Standing isn't how I treat my guests. The red-robed demi was a bit surprised. Ah, that's true. All right, let us sit down and talk. Saying so, the red-robed demi sat down on the sofa across from Gu Qingshan and narrowed her eyes to observe Gu Qingshan. A second later, the red-robed demi was about to speak. Gu Qingshan suddenly stood up, walked to one side, and opened the cabinet. Jang Young-ho's personal cabinet. What would you like to drink? The best alcohol in the human world is basically all here. Please choose. Gu Qing-shan smiled and asked. The red-robed Demi glanced at the cabinet and couldn't help but ask, "Do you know who I am?" "I don't, but everything around me seems to have frozen. I've never heard of such an ability before. If that's the case, then you must be an unspeakably great personage." Gu Qing-shan smiled and raised two beautiful glasses. "When an esteemed guest comes, us humans should always have a drink." The red-robed Demi seriously listened and slowly smiled. "You really aren't a normal person. No wonder you were able to become the Devil King," he praised. Gu Qingshan didn't answer. He took out 2 bottles of liquor and showed them to the other party. 100-year Imperial Deer, Fushi specialty, renowned everywhere. Only the royal family has the right to drink this 100-year bottle. And this bottle, the Federation Song of Freedom, a treasure of the Nine Lord from 700 years ago, normally kept as a collection, a symbol of status. No one would be willing to drink it, saying so. Gu Qingshan scanned her thoughts see with her inner sight. As soon as the second bloody skeleton appeared, a total of 13 must be summoned to be considered a success, so it's still early. The red-robed Demi was attracted by his words and spoke. Then the second bottle, Gu Qingshan only hesitated for a split second before opening the bottle. The aroma of liquor filled the air. "Jang Young-ho, your collection has played an important role. Please don't feel bad about it." Gu Qingshan silently muttered. The Demi closed his eyes and smelled it. His expression became relaxed and relaxed as he muttered. "That's right, this is quite a good liquor. Although I occasionally come down here to take a look, I've never thought I'd be able to drink such good liquor. Do you want ice?" "No, this liquor is best served pure." Gu Qingshan poured a glass and gave it to the red-robed Demi. He also poured himself a glass without hesitation. The two of them sat down on the sofa again. Gu Qingshan stared at the other party as he drank the liquor. The third skeleton silently appeared. There were still 10 left. The Demi put the glass down and sighed. "I really have to say, you humans really do know how to enjoy yourselves." Gu Qingshan raised his glass and also took a sip. "Pure and clear. If this is the final moments of the apocalypse, this glass of liquor is indeed worthy of this moment." He drank it all in one gulp, then poured another for himself and the Demi. "To your excellency," he said. "Thank you for your hospitality," the Demi replied. The two of them finished the liquor. When Gu Qingshan wanted to pour more, the Demi waved his hand to stop her. "No need, right now. I want to talk to you." Gu Qingshan put the bottle down and listened attentively. The fourth skeleton appeared. "Devil King, your strategy was quite impressive. I only managed to take a look at Huang Quan's situation because all the demons in Huang Quan suddenly died." The red-robed Demi leaned back on the sofa and slowly spoke. "Following that, every step you took destroyed the demon strategy. Only when you ran into my previous plan did you finally lose the ability to turn things around. I have to say, I really do admire you, but there's one thing you did that really sucked." "Ah? I like to hear it," Gu Qingshan said. In his sea of consciousness, a fifth bloody skeleton appeared next to the Azura King. "Do you still not understand? You gave your merit to the bugs in hell, giving them a chance to reincarnate, which means that hell is now empty." The red-robed Demi leaned back on the sofa and slowly spoke. "Devil King, sir, this is your greatest failure." "Failure?" Gu Qingshan appeared doubtful. "That's right. Once hell is empty, you no longer have anyone you can use. You've become a wandering ghost. Do you understand?" The red-robed Demi purposely sighed regretfully, "Which means the only thing you can do now is wait. This is the only way to deal with that spear." Gu Qingshan cut him off. He explained, "As far as I know, even the divinities of Huang Quan couldn't deal with that spear. So if I don't do this, there's no way to deal with the problem caused by the spear." The sixth skeleton appeared. The red-robed Demi shrugged. "Why do you need to care about that spear? As a king, you should be more concerned about the authority in your hands." Gu Qingshan replied. "They did what they did, so their merit is the reward they deserve. No wonder you ended up like this. You still don't understand. A king should control all living beings and achieve his own authority," the red-robed Demi commented. "I have a different opinion on this," Gu Qingshan said. "Ah, Please go ahead. I have to make them really want to do something. Only then will I be able to stimulate their potential and make things successful. The seventh skeleton appeared. There were 5 more. The red-robed demi looked at him and fell silent. It was as if he was looking at a strange creature. A few moments later, "Fine, do whatever you want. After all, what you've done can't change the ending I've already decided for this world," the red-robed demi continued. "Then, what I want to say is," Gu Shan immediately asked, "May I ask how I should address you, sir?" The old man looked at her doubtfully. Gu Shan explained, "I can't just casually and rudely call you by your title without even knowing it." The red-robed demi paused briefly, seemingly thinking. The 8th bloody skeleton appeared. "If I say my name, many entities will pry into it. This private conversation will become a public discussion." He appeared a bit troubled. "How about you just call me Demi, which means you're the master of the heaven realm?" "That's right." Gu Shan appeared excited. "With your esteemed status, you personally descended upon the human realm at the moment of the apocalypse in order to save humanity?" he asked. "No, it seems you've completely misunderstood." The red-robed demi shook his finger, showing an expression of regret that he got what he wanted. The 9th skeleton appeared. The red-robed demi spoke. "I thought I made it very clear. That's what I wanted to tell you as well, huh?" "Please go ahead," Gu Shan replied. The red-robed demi smiled faintly and spoke. "I came here to enjoy the final struggle of the losers. I don't think it's completely hopeless yet," Gu Shan replied. The red-robed old man spoke. "This is what I admire about you, as well as the joy of this entire matter. The demon army is currently entering the samsara, and I'm about to bring the divinities away. Time is precious, so let's keep it short. I'm all ears," Gu Shan replied. He released his inner sight into his thoughts sea. The 10th blood skeleton had already appeared. There were only 3 left. The Azura King's body gave off a blinding light as he chanted the incantation of the vow. The great ghost general told Gu Shan, "Well done. Just hold on for a bit longer. It's almost done." In the living room, the red-robed demi finally told her why he came. "Hell is empty. The human realm is weak. Both of these worlds are hopeless, but your talents are outstanding. I hope you'll consider joining me." "Join you?" "That's right. I killed the Devil King of Hell, and now I hope to enslave another." "You killed the Devil King of Hell?" "That's not possible." Gu Shan shook her head. "Why is it not possible?" The red-robed demi casually replied. "There is only a single Devil King Warden Rod in Huang Quan, and I am the only Devil King." "That's true, but I'm talking about something that happened 10,000 years ago," the demi appeared to be reminiscing. "The most dangerous plan of 10,000 years ago. Even now, when he thought back to it, he still felt a sense of achievement. And because he succeeded in the end, every time he thought back to it, he would feel a sense of accomplishment." The demi smiled faintly. 11 skeletons. Only 2 left. The demi regained his senses. He suddenly felt like there was no need to waste any more words. He could just tell the Devil King in front of him everything. But Gu Shan had already asked, "There must be a reason why you came to recruit me. Of course, what do you want from me?" "A unique technique. You can leave your body. Your soul will travel to Huang Quan, then return. Other than that, you can also turn into a dead person and become a Devil King. This is a miraculous secret that even I have never heard of before." The red-robed old man's eyes glowed. He leaned forward and looked at Gu Shan. "Give me your secret. I will make you a servant of the heaven realm and take you away from the samsara. This is the only way to survive." The red-robed old man smiled. "Think about it. An endless horde of demons and demon lords are about to descend upon this world, while you are a lone ghost without any subordinates. You will die in despair. I've observed you for a long time. You're obviously a smart person. I trust that you will know what to choose." Gu Shan lowered her head and acted like she was thinking about it. The 12 skeletons had finished their preparations. They knelt down in front of the Azura King and summoned the last skeleton. "Can you give me 15 minutes to think about it?" Gu Shan asked. "I'm sorry, but you need to make a decision right now. It's only because of that bottle of wine that I haven't done anything yet. I hope you can clearly understand this," the demi replied. "Fine, but you were wrong. I won't die in despair," Gu Shan continued. The red-robed Demi smiled in surprise. Where was I wrong? There aren't a lot of combatants in the human realm. True soldiers are also very rare. Even I can't do anything about this situation. What can you do? He asked with interest. The world of Huang Quan is already fused with the human realm, that's right. So what? I'm very sure that the world barrier won't be able to reopen in time. Against endless demons, what can you do? I will probably die in battle first, Gu Qingshan replied. Die in battle first? The red-robed old man didn't quite understand. Die in battle first, then become a dead person, fearless of death, forever killing demons in this world. Gu Qingshan's voice slowed down. Her expression was calm, as if she was talking about something completely unrelated to her. 1 year, 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years. I will continue to fight against the demons and see if they truly don't know what fear is, as the red-robed Demi listened to her slowly explain. The smile on his face slowly disappeared. I thought you were a smart person, but you're nothing but a devil king, the Demi commented. I'm actually looking forward to the daily killing from now on, Gu Qingshan commented. The Demi's tone carried a bit of anger. Don't you understand? Dead people are bound by the law of Huang Quan, forever trapped on this land. Combined with the countless demons taking over this world, you will never be able to reincarnate. So what? Gu Qingshan asked. The Demi froze. Gu Qingshan thought for a bit. Actually, if I think about it carefully, this does make me feel a bit better. As if he realized something, his expression slowly calmed down. That's right, he doesn't care anymore. An uncompromising battle. This was his final will. The red-robed Demi noticed this. He shut his mouth and remained silent for a long time. A madman, the red-robed Demi muttered. The Demi suddenly stood up. No, an existence like you is too dangerous. I should kill you right now. Your soul should also be destroyed. He swung the scepter. A vast and majestic power surged out from his body and condensed on the scepter. At the same time, Gu Qingshan's thoughts see. All 13 bloody skeletons had appeared, roaring in unison. Avenge, instantly, the skeletons disappeared from Gu Qingshan's thoughts see and reappeared in the living room. Oathbreaker's punishment. The red-robed old man's expression changed. He raised the scepter in his hand and shouted, That's impossible. You're all dead. The scepter gave off a blinding white light that enveloped the red-robed old man, about to escape into the void of space. The Azura king appeared and muttered in a low voice, With my body as proof, the covenant is valid, barrier of punishment bind. The 13 bloody skeletons surrounded the red-robed Demi. Chapter 485. As soon as the heavenly god retreated, the Azura king shouted, Barrier of retribution. The 13 skeletons jumped up and down in response, spraying the blood around them all over the place. The entire room glowed with a bright red light. A few moments later, the red-robed old man and the 13 skeletons disappeared without a trace. There was an irregular hole glowing with red light at the place where they had disappeared. The Azura king continued to chant the vow to maintain the hole. The void of space shifted. The great ghost general, clad in jet-black armor and wielding a black light blade, appeared. How long can you trap him? The great ghost general asked. If you can keep him busy, he'll be trapped for a very long time. The Azura king took a moment to tell him. The great ghost general laughed maniacally. Leave it to me. I'll make sure he doesn't have time to care about anything else. He charged into the hole. If it's just you, it might not be enough. Saying so, the Azura king also charged into the hole. As soon as he entered, the red light disappeared as well as the hole. A black-robed man suddenly appeared. Haze. He looked like he was about to go insane from excitement. The heavenly god is trapped. This is the only chance for the last 10,000 years. I'll go to the heaven realm to save Soft Note. He told Gu Qingshan. A second later, he was about to disappear. Wait, Gu Qingshan shouted. What is it? What else is there? I've already given you your reward. Haze stopped and asked in confusion. You're going to save her just like that? Gu Qingshan asked. The heavenly god is already trapped. What other problems are there? Seems like you didn't understand soft notes meaning, Gu Qing Shan quickly told him. The great ghost general and the Azura king are the key to trapping the heavenly god, but the third card is a scene before her death. The test is to deal with time stanch. You need to find a way to deal with this divine skill. No, the red-robed demi is the only demi who can use time stanch. Hayes loudly shouted. Gu Qing Shan shook her head. Don't you understand? She meant that the heavenly god must be trapped, as well as the ability to deal with time stanch. Only when both conditions are met can she be saved. When Lan heard this, she was stunned. Gu Qing Shan replied, Shanu, I'm here. Shanu appeared. Go and help. Feel free to use my combat skills and experience. Yes, young master. Gu Qing Shan turned to Lan and said, My sword can break all spells. It is the key to breaking the time stanch. It was also because of her that I managed to break the third card. You go with her. Hayes looked at Shanu, then at Gu Qing Shan, and took a deep breath. Thank you. I will remember your kindness, said Lan. Hayes walked next to Shanu and took out a card. The card turned into a streak of light that carried Hayes and the Six Paths' great mountain sword into the void of space and disappeared. After they left, the second hand of the clock on the wall finally moved. The next second, everything returned to normal. The president was still deep in thought. Queen Verona was fixing her makeup. Anna, Jang Young-ho, and Yi Fei-li maintained their original positions. No one in the room noticed what happened just now. Only Black Dog had a contemplative look on his face. The heavenly god was trapped in a powerful covenant barrier. The man who appeared later went to the heaven realm. What about you? Do you plan to go? Black Dog suddenly asked Gu Qing Shan. I can't go, and I don't want to go. Gu Qing Shan shook her head. Roar. In the sky outside the mansion, the roars of the demons could be heard one after another. Gu Qing Shan stood there dejectedly, listening to the commotion outside. I can only wish them success. After all, I've already done everything I can. There's nothing else I can do. The only thing I can do now is to welcome the end of the world, he sighed. That's right. This world is about to be destroyed, Black Dog muttered in a low voice. Gu Qing Shan suddenly noticed 2 lines of glowing notifications on the War God UI. The fusion of Huang Quan and the human realm is intensifying. Furthermore, reinforcements from Huang Quan have arrived. Gu Qing Shan chuckled, shook his head, and sighed again. Whether it's machines or weapons, against the endless horde of demons and demon lords, none of them can save this world. Dong, dong, dong. Someone knocked on the door. But this time, everyone's attention was drawn to it, because the sound came from the door, not from the void of space. Gu Qing Shan knew that the weapons of Huang Quan had arrived, but he didn't want to move at all. A deep sense of exhaustion washed over him. After putting in so much effort, this is the result he got. He didn't want to think about anything right now. He just wanted to empty himself a bit. Picking up the bottle of liquor on the table, he poured himself a glass. Jang Young-ho looked at him. He paused. Very well. This liquor is indeed worthy of the apocalypse. Jang Young-ho walked over and poured everyone a glass. The president raised his glass. Thank you for the liquor. In my final moments, I hope to be able to die together with everyone. Monarch Verona gulped it down in one gulp and said, I only hope that when I die, it won't be too painful. Gu Qing Shan raised his glass again and said nothing. Anna came up and clinked glasses with him. It'll be fine. I'll always be by your side, she softly said. Yi Fei-li stood up and went to open the door. He quickly returned with a shocked expression. What is it? Those are the new machines and weapons from Huang Quan. Don't worry. Gu Qing Shan noticed his expression and said, No, I think you should go take a look. Yi Fei-li said, There's a woman with many people saying she has something to deliver to you, a woman. Anna stood up first. Deliver something? Gu Qing Shan was a bit surprised. She said she originally wanted to fight with you, but now it seems she won't have the chance. Fight with me. Gu Qing Shan's expression suddenly changed, stood up and walked towards the door. Anna followed closely behind him. Black Dog was right behind her. Jang Young-ho noticed Gu Qing Shan's strange expression and also followed. The the president, Monarch Verona, and finally Yifei Li. Everyone followed to see what was going on. Gu Qingshan opened the door. It was a beautiful woman with a long blade in her hand. A beautiful female Azura. With her in the lead, 7 powerful dead people stood on the empty ground outside the door. Gu Qingshan was stunned. "Why are there so many people?" the president asked in a low voice. "They're dead people," Gu Qingshan answered. "Why are there so many?" Zhang Yongho couldn't believe it. Behind the 7 commanders of hell, in the mountains and plains, the endless crowds of people were crowded, densely packed from the mountains to the fields and plains, across the river, extending to the capital, and further away, were all the figures of the dead. They stood in silence, motionless. They filled the entire world. At this point, impartial goddess voice came. "Sir, the planet is still expanding. Furthermore, trillions of dead people have suddenly appeared in the world." Gu Qingshan was still in a daze. Didn't you go to reincarnate?" he asked. The 7 commanders looked at each other. "I heard that the war is about to begin," the human elders said with a smile. "It's our turn to do our part," the 2 giants spoke in a coarse voice. "It's just fighting demons. They can't resurrect, so it's not that hard," the male Azura scoffed. "We have to let the demons see what kind of scoundrels are in this world," the devil said. "Demon meat is pretty good. There's no harm in having some before we leave," the alpha wolf said. The female Azura smiled and said, "We don't think we can just leave like this. We still have a few hours of free time left." Saying so, she stepped forward and knelt down on one knee in front of Gu Qingshan. She held something up high, showing it to Gu Qingshan. A black rod with a sharp horn and a skull head, surrounded by a faint black glow. The Devil King Warden Rod. The female Azura brought the Devil King Warden Rod to Gu Qingshan. "What?" Gu Qingshan asked. The female Azura looked at Gu Qingshan with a rare, gentle expression. "Devil King, you've helped all of us. Hell no longer tortures us, and we don't want to reincarnate right away. When the time for reincarnation is up, if you don't enter reincarnation, your merit will be deducted," Gu Qingshan reminded them. "It's not time yet. Not to mention, the apocalypse is still corroding the samsara world. We still have some merit to earn before we reincarnate. Not only can we earn merit, we can also return the favor we owe the Devil King. Who would refuse that?" The female Azura smiled. Gu Qingshan seriously listened to her and slowly relaxed. "Please command us, Devil King," the alpha wolf said. "None of you can win against any of the demon lords. Even I can't win against them," Gu Qingshan said. The female Azura continued. "We've won against the 7-colored spear. We can't die. No matter how strong the demon lords are, there's still no match for the 7-colored spear. They'll eventually die." Gu Qingshan went silent. He reached his hand out to grab the Devil King Warden Rod. The female Azura stood up and stepped aside. Gu Qingshan held the Devil King Warden Rod in his hand, facing the dead. He took a deep breath and used the Devil King Warden Rod to connect with the dead. "Thank you for helping the human realm." Before he could finish, he was already drowned out by the roaring of the entire planet. "Long live the Devil King! Long live the Devil King! Long live the Devil King!" The voices became louder and louder. The thunderous roar of a tsunami could be heard one after another. The dead all cheered and saluted. Chapter 486. In the sky, a gigantic demon lord let out an earth-shattering roar. It was a 3-headed green flaming black snake. Its bulky body took up a large amount of space in the sky. Its 3 heads were a skull, a ram, and a female head. Green flames drifted around its body, forcing the other demons to carefully avoid it. This powerful demon god was already impatient from waiting. Yes, there are a lot of enemies below, but so what? Both their flesh and souls are nothing but food. The demon lord swung the 2 horns on a ram's head and jabbed at the weakened world barrier. It seems to have some sort of spatial ability, as invisible ripples appeared on its horns. A few moments later, the black snake demon lord went through the barrier and appeared below. It had the ability to go through the world barrier. Such a terrifying ability, even among the demon lords, it would be a top-notch one. The three-headed black snake demon lord stared down and let out a thunderous roar. The seven leaders looked up at the sky. Both the living and the dead looked up at the same time. The three-headed demon lord was descending. This was the first demon lord to fall into the human realm. A powerful aura flowed around its body. The demon lord's female head was drooling, greedily speaking. All living people should fill my stomach. This seemed to be a declaration. It was telling the human realm that a world-ending slaughter had arrived. For a moment, no one said a word. Gu Shan held the Devil King Warden Rod and connected to all the dead. Did you all hear that? It said, living people. Gu Shan spoke. Puffed. The female Azura laughed. The other leaders also laughed. The laughter seemed to be contagious, as the dead all over the place began to laugh. As if they've heard something extremely amusing, they were laughing so hard that they couldn't stop themselves from beating their chests. Living people, ahaha, other than the Devil King, who is a living person. This Great One still hasn't reached the point of reincarnation. This Great One is a dead person. What a fucking joke. This guy's gone mad from hunger. The entire planet was filled with unbridled laughter. The laughter quickly stopped, because Gu Shan was holding the Devil King Warden Rod, transmitting her thoughts to all the dead. Everyone understood. Then, Gu Shan took action. He instantly disappeared and reappeared on the plains. Countless dead people squeezed to the sides, creating a large space for the Devil King. Gu Shan raised her head and looked at the three-headed demon god that was descending from the sky. I'll bring you down right now. It's time for you to enjoy the greetings of hell, he murmured. As soon as he finished speaking, he disappeared from where he stood. Divine skill, shadow shift. Gu Shan appeared in the sky, while the three-headed demon god suddenly appeared on the ground. The three-headed fiend celestial was taken aback. At this moment, the countless dead waiting at the side opened their mouths and let out a deafening roar. Kill it! They charged forward and climbed onto the demon god's body. The dead were densely packed and clustered, flocking to the scene. There were so many of them that they completely buried the demon god in a few breaths. Roar! The three-headed demon god was enraged and let out a deafening roar. Green flames pierced through its entire body. A series of crackling noises could be heard. All the dead that climbed onto the demon god's body were burned to ashes. In the blink of an eye, the demon god had killed over 100,000 dead people. Puny things, how dare you act so presumptuously? The three-headed demon god roared. It twisted and turned on the ground. Its gigantic body covered in green flames swept across the plains. The dead were dying in droves. Millions of dead bodies covered the plains. Seeing that, Gu Shan swung the Devil King Warden Rod. He activated Dead Essence. Then, something unexpected happened. On the vast plains, the millions of dead bodies that were lying motionless suddenly opened their eyes. The dead crawled up from the ground. One of them asked in surprise, "How strange! Why didn't I go back to sleep?" Another dead looked at his own body and joyfully said, "My wounds are all healed." The dead exchanged glances, then suddenly realized something. They resurrected themselves. How could this be? According to the law of hell, after death, the dead must return to their own hell and slowly resurrect from their slumber. This was to ensure that they could continue to endure the terrifying punishment of hell. But now, the dead directly resurrected from where they died. This was completely different from the laws of hell. The seven leaders were also shocked. The Wolf King suddenly shouted, "I know. What's going on?" The female Azura asked. "Although we still belong to hell, our sins have all been cleansed, and we're about to be reincarnated. So what? Hell has no reason to torture us anymore. So, when we resurrect, we don't need to specifically return to hell, if that's the case. That's right, as long as the Devil King uses Dead Essence, we'll be able to resurrect right where we died." The seven leaders looked at Gu Shan. Gu Shan raised his rod. "Please do as you please. Leave the resurrection to me," he said. The male Azura laughed in a frenzy. "Haha, this is so good. I don't care about you guys. I'm going to fight the demon god first." He drew his weapon and flew towards the three-headed demon god. Undying. resurrecting immediately after death. This was a power that surpassed everything. The Devil King Warden Rod, the immense merit, the law of hell, the fused worlds, the short period of sinlessness before reincarnation, all of these factors combined to form this most miraculous moment. The dead were all going crazy. The demon god's power is only SOS, so this flame is too weak. It can't even compare to the pain of being fried in hell. We're undying. Kill this big piece of trash. They shouted in frenzy. Even more dead rushed towards the three-headed demon god. They jumped on the demon god's giant body, slashing and biting with all their might. The three-headed demon god was completely surrounded by the dead. Until the end, the demon god's body was completely covered. No one could tell what it originally looked like. From afar, a mountain of dead could be seen on the plains. The mountain was still moving. Roar! The demon god roared in rage as the green flames on its body rose to the sky. It was trying its best to kill the dead, but not a single one of them was killed. The flames continued to kill the dead, but the dead came back to life as soon as they died. The dead lived and died at the same time, but in the end, neither life nor death could affect them anymore. They risked their lives to kill the demon god. All of a sudden, a gigantic beast king looked up and roared. Delicious! Delicious! This monster's flesh is delicious! All the dead were shocked for a split second. A second later, an earth-shattering roar resounded across the plains. Eat it! The dead became even more frenzied. The three-headed demon god let out an earth-shattering howl. A few moments later, the howl became intermittent. Finally, the howl stopped. On the plains, the dead reluctantly dispersed. All that was left of the three-headed demon god's gigantic body was just a skeleton. Delicious, so delicious. I'm about to reincarnate. Being able to eat a full meal makes me feel like I have no regrets. The dead were communicating with each other through the Devil King Warden Rod's mental connection. But there were still over 1 trillion dead that didn't get to eat anything. What now? All the dead in the world instinctively looked up at the sky. There's food. Delicious food. Their gazes slowly changed. Come down. Come down. Come down. The dead were shouting in a frenzy of desire. In the sky, the roars of the demons became softer and softer. A few demon gods cautiously stared at the commotion below. As weapons of war that had conquered so many worlds, they already understood what kind of existence this chaotic group of living beings was. Killed and resurrected, killed and resurrected, killed and resurrected, killed and resurrected. The dirtiest dead of hell in the samsara world. And they didn't even need to sleep now. They could directly resurrect on the spot. The demon god's bloodlust slowly receded. In the sky, all the demons gradually quietened down. They had fallen into some sort of embarrassing situation. Originally, they wanted to wait for the world barrier to break before rushing down to eat a delicious meal. Chapter 487. Around the world, over 1 trillion dead people were all looking forward to it. At a certain desert in the Freedom Federation, the situation had changed. At the very moment that the world barrier disappeared, a few dozen demons fell from the sky. The dead in the desert had been waiting for a long time. Noticing the commotion in the sky, the dead formed a slanted mountain of food. Before the dozens of demons even landed, their flesh and blood had already been taken by the dead. The dead who couldn't eat the demons' flesh and blood all showed regretful expressions. They could only continue to look up, waiting. The dead continued to wait. A few dog-type beast kings pushed the other dead away and arrived in front of the dozens of demon skeletons. "What are you doing?" one of the dead couldn't help but ask. The dog-type beast kings coldly laughed. "A bunch of amateurs. The true delicacy is actually bone marrow." They all rushed forward and snatched the demon skeleton clean. The sound of bones being chewed and sucked could be heard. A few moments later, another few hundred demons fell from the fragile world barrier. The dead were overjoyed to see that. Like a whirlwind sweeping away the clouds, the hundreds of demons were devoured cleanly. This time, not even their bones were left. Among the dead, only a few of them didn't have a good expression on their faces. The demon they took wasn't tasty at all. The Freedom Federation. The capital. The empty field in front of the mountain. The male Azura had already gone to the plains, so there were only 6 leaders left. They exchanged glances and saw the same thing in each other's eyes. Devil King, before we reincarnate, we also want to go out and fight, Gu Qingshan said. The 6 commanders spread out and flew in different directions at high speed. Gu Qingshan looked up and noticed the change in the sky. The world barrier wasn't something that would disappear in an instant. Even at the very last moment of its collapse, this barrier was still doing its best to stop the demons from invading. This was actually quite a strange thing. The world barrier state was like a poorly connected light bulb. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it would lose its effect at certain points. Within an hour, the world barrier wouldn't completely disappear. Within an hour, the demons could only descend in batches and enter the human world. Hundreds, thousands at most, there were only a few tens of thousands of demons and devils intermittently broke through the world's protective barrier and entered the human realm. And below them, there were trillions of dead people. These dead people had been waiting for this meal for a long time. For the last meal on the road to hell, the dead tried their best to have a heartwarming and memorable meal. Throughout the planet and the world from time to time, the dead could be heard making loud noises of excitement. That meant another demon had slipped through. The undead were like a group of man-eating ants crazily thirsting for food. This kind of eating lasted for about half an hour. Finally, some of the smarter demon gods among the fiendish demons came to their senses. They left without hesitation. In the face of an unkillable existence, war was meaningless. As long as they entered the world below, no matter how strong they were, no matter how many dead they killed, they would eventually become their food. Even if he had the ability not to be eaten, he would still have to fight for a long time. And this kind of battle could not kill a single enemy. Everything became meaningless. One by one, the demon gods left without hesitation. A few giant demons followed behind. Then came the powerful demons with decent strength and brains. Finally came the small demons that blindly followed the strong. In the sky, the number of demons became sparse. The remaining demons were all mindless, low-level demons that only knew how to kill. Another 20 minutes later, the world barrier finally disappeared. Scattered demons fell from the sky. The dead immediately cheered. A feast of gluttony had begun. Gu Qingshan looked down the mountain. The feast of the dead was still ongoing. Impartial goddess, how are the rest of the world? A small number of demons managed to harm the living, but they were quickly eliminated by the dead. The majority of the demons were killed by the dead. Gu Qingshan looked at the time. There were still about 5 hours left until the world barrier reopens. Gu Qingshan held the Devil King Warden Rod and asked, "How much time do you have left?" "I have a faint feeling that there's about 5 hours left," the female Azura answered. Gu Qingshan's heart tightened. If the dead reach the time of reincarnation ahead of time, and the world barrier still hasn't reopened, then the entire world will be defenseless. He gathered everyone and explained the situation. The president said, "The most important thing right now is whether or not the dead can hold on until the world barrier is fully reopened. That's right. If the dead disappear before the world barrier opens, the demon gods will most likely return," Gu Qingshan said. Anna clasped her hands together and prayed, "May the heavenly God protect us. We must wait until the world barrier is fully reopened before the dead can reincarnate." Black Dog spoke in a low voice. "Your heavenly God has just been taken to another world." Anna immediately corrected herself. "I'm praying to the death god." Black Dog was pleased. "That's right, then all we can do now is wait." Yi Fei Li had a complicated expression on her face. "I don't understand why we have to rely on villains to save the world." Gu Qingshan patted his shoulder and said, "Cultivate well. The future is still up to us." Yi Fei Li nodded. Time passed both slowly and quickly. This was the longest few hours that Gu Qingshan had ever felt. The president of the Federation and Monarch Verona contacted the world's countries, sending out an important notice for all humans to go into hiding and not show themselves in the light of day. Impartial Goddess took over all the machines in the world, helping to transport the dead to various demon disaster areas. All of this was done very quickly, but none of this will determine the final fate of the world. The final fate of the world depends on the time of the dead's reincarnation, as well as the time of the barrier's opening. Only when the barrier is opened and the dead haven't left, or if the two are coincidentally connected, will there be no problems. Otherwise, once the demon gods notice something is wrong and return, the world will still head towards destruction. While waiting anxiously, time slowly passed. The final hour, the most crucial moment has arrived. Gu Qingshan's gaze fell onto the war god UI. A line of glowing text was still there. The world's fusion will cause the barrier to reappear. The barrier will automatically reappear after that. 37 minutes until the barrier is formed. After checking the time, Gu Qingshan looked at the plains outside the mountain. The dead are still in her line of sight. I have to hold on. Suddenly, a blinding light descended from the sky. This light was like a waterfall, sweeping across the entire sky and spreading in every direction. The dead who were bathed in this light all had expressions of understanding. It's time for reincarnation. And now, it's time for them to reincarnate. According to the personal merit calculator, if they didn't leave, their merit would gradually be deducted, and they would eventually sink into hell and suffer again. But, the world's barrier still needs 37 minutes and 20 seconds to form. At this crucial moment, the dead will begin their reincarnation. The barrier is gone. The dead have left. The world is about to enter a defenseless state. Roar! Far away in the sky, a few terrifying demon gods once again appeared. They roared in frenzy, anxiously waiting for the dead to leave. 36 minutes and 59 seconds. This was a time that made people despair. Once the dead are reincarnated, the demon gods won't even need a minute to descend from the sky. All of a sudden, a burst of frenzied laughter came from the dead. Ah, Devil King, I've waited for so long. This moment has finally arrived. You're done for. Through their telepathy, everyone found that it was the female fiend kind of the 10 strongest. She smirked triumphantly. Goodbye, Devil King. I wish you and your world a happy destruction. As soon as she said so, the female fiend kind disappeared into the screen of light. Chapter 488. Following the female fiend kind's departure, the dead became even more rowdy. Quite a few of them started to argue, while others entered the screen of light without hesitation and disappeared without a trace. The smartest of the dead had already reincarnated before the female fiend kind did. At this point, another of the 10 strongest stood out and loudly declared, "Everyone, why stay here any longer? It's time to reincarnate. If you stay any longer, your merit will be deducted." He muttered, "Merit accountant machine." The merit above his head was disappearing at a steady rate. "Everyone take a look. This is the merit I gained from dying countless times for the sake of the world of the living. Why should I use up the merit I gained from dying countless times? Everyone, please think carefully." Saying so, this combatant smirked as he looked at Gu Qingshan. "I'm sorry, Devil King. I need to take care of myself first." He went into the screen of light and reincarnated. Another of the 10 strongest stood out and laughed in a frenzy. "Only endless destruction can bring about extreme happiness, Devil King. I thank you so much, allowing me to experience this kind of pleasure before I reincarnate. Die. Let the world be destroyed. This is my favorite scene. I'm leaving all of you. Die." As he spoke, he entered the vast screen of light and vanished from sight. Another combatant loudly declared, "Everyone, think about it. When you reincarnate, an entire world will be destroyed with you. What a joyous thing that is. Come with me." He disappeared into the screen of light. The other 10 strongest all laughed at Gu Qingshan and also disappeared. They've all left. One by one, some of the dead began to chant merit account machine. When they found their merit was being drained away, they immediately showed expressions of fear. Very quickly, they also disappeared into the screen of light. A few scoundrels like the 10 strongest also teased Gu Qingshan a bit, then immediately reincarnated. This can't be helped. The Devil King Warden Rod can no longer control the dead, because the dead can reincarnate at any time, cutting off their connection with hell. Gu Qing Shan shook his head, knowing that he's already lost. He turned to his companions behind him and explained the final preparations. Impartial Goddess, activate all weapons of war. Prepare to fight to the death, Mr. President. Her Majesty the Queen, you can consider mobilizing the entire nation. The two leaders sighed and nodded. Gu Qing Shan spoke in a low voice. Next, Please wait, we haven't left yet. Suddenly, a voice interrupted him. Wolf King. The Wolf King spoke. Gu Qing Shan was stunned. He once again established a telepathic link and observed the dead. However, he saw that the spiritual connection between the 7 commanders was still there. Several minutes had passed. Among the dead, there were indeed many who had already disappeared, going to be reincarnated. But most of the dead stayed. Within the Devil King Warden Rod's senses, about 80% of the dead are still bathing in the light. They did not leave. Gu Qing Shan grabbed the Devil King Warden Rod and linked all the dead together. Why didn't you reincarnate? He asked in confusion. Most of the dead were silent. They looked at each other, not knowing how to answer. The female Azura connected everyone and said, Devil King, please look here. Everyone looked through the telepathic link. The female Azura was standing guard in the hallway of a hospital. Before, the 7 commanders had scattered to find a place to fight the demons, and the female Azura happened to be passing by. At the time, a large demon came down from the sky, causing half of the hospital to collapse. The female Azura happened to notice this, so she descended to fight the demon. She was protecting this place. The female Azura was standing in the open hallway, holding a newborn baby in her arms. She had a gentle expression on her face. This is a brand new life. Saying so, she let the dead see the baby's appearance. The baby seemed to sense something and looked around curiously. Of course, he couldn't see the countless eyes watching him from the void of space. A few moments later, the baby felt tired, closed his eyes, and quickly fell asleep. The dead couldn't help but lower their voices and whisper to each other. TK Tisk, he's sleeping so soundly. This little guy probably doesn't know that the world is about to end. Nonsense, such a small life. He wouldn't understand such things if the world is done for. So, is he bullshit? This great one is still here, the dead continued to argue. The female Azura continued, I've never thought about saving the world or anything. I only came to the human realm to repay the Devil King's favor and earn some merit, but just now, I found this new life. I really hope that this child can be with his mother and live happily together. The female Azura spoke through telepathy. I've already gotten used to hell. It doesn't matter if I go there again. She suddenly turned to Gu Qing Shan and softly asked, Devil King, if I enter hell, are you willing to save me one more time? All the dead's voices went silent. Absolute silence. The dead silently waited for Gu Qing Shan's reply. Gu Qing Shan gripped the Devil King's scepter tightly. Even if I have to destroy all of hell, I will save you. The female Azura nodded and calmed down. She then loudly asked, Where are the others? What are you all thinking? You were originally villains in hell, so why did you choose to stay here? The dead discussed among themselves in a low voice, but none of them communicated with each other. They didn't seem to know what to say. Killing countless people in battle is my bad karma from my past life. I admit that, the male Azura muttered, but if I leave right now, I'll feel uncomfortable somewhere. Wolf King continued. If you leave this place, trillions of lives will be lost with you. That's a bit hesitant. Although I've killed countless enemies while I was alive, I believe this is the first time you've encountered something like this. The villains of hell couldn't help but nod. Then why haven't you left yet? The female Azura asked. I have to seriously consider something. Should I let these lives survive, or should I let them be scattered among the countless demons? Wolf King replied, You're still thinking about that? You should know that your merit is decreasing with every passing minute. The fiend-kind leader chimed in. At this point, the sound of a baby crying could be heard. Everyone turned to look. The female Azura hurriedly returned the baby to a human girl. The girl smiled at her. The female Azura had always been here to protect her and her child, so she wasn't afraid at all. She didn't even know that the other party was a dead, an Azura. She only knew that she was very powerful. The girl was a bit nervous as a mother for the first time, but she quickly held the baby in her arms and softly coaxed it. The baby seemed to be hungry. The mother looked down at the baby, turned her back, and began to nurse. The dead could still see her expression. She appeared peaceful and content, her face exuding the light of motherhood. The dead stared at this. As time passed, the dead remained silent. Wolf King suddenly sighed. What a headache whether to leave or to stay. This leader will need a bit more time to think. How long do you need to think? Devil King. How long more before the world barrier can be activated? Gu Qing Shan replied. 29 minutes and 17 seconds. Wolf King nodded. Then I'll think about it for another 29 minutes and 17 seconds after saying that. It closed its mouth. The connection between the billions of dead slowly returned to silence. No one said anything. Also, you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.